Hey YouTube family, Mr. Black Mamba 305 here with you. How you guys doing? Welcome to the live. Thank you guys for joining. First and foremost, we want to thank our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, okay, for giving us the grace of today, the Holy Spirit for always being with us. Thank you, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. If you're watching this video for the first time, I would really appreciate if you guys would subscribe to the channel. If you guys have been pretty frequent to the channel, thank you guys for always coming back and enjoying the content. I want to thank you guys for watching with us. And we're just here right now, waiting to watch the president speak. August, this is the latest speech the president's going to have. So we just want to stay here and watch it with everyone. Hope you guys really enjoy the content, man. If you guys want, feel free to get in there and just light up the comments. If you want to like the video, I'd really appreciate it. It brings a lot more eyes to the channel. And guys, just thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you very much. Let's just wait. We're just wait to see what's gonna happen. And with that said, let's go. Pardon me, guys. My bad. Gotta get my power source to. Um, Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you guys. Just waiting to see what becomes of the live. It's your first time. Thank you guys. Welcome. Speed it up a little bit. I have people just waiting in here.
Wow. I've been up here a lot. I've never seen a crowd like this. I think we need a ballroom, and that's happening. It's going to be a beautiful ballroom. This is really a lot of people, most I've ever seen in this room. And we're here for a very serious purpose, very serious purpose. Something's out of control, but we're going to put it in control very quickly like we did on the southern border. I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. Officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control, and you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening. They've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it, too. You know, you're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes to our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And you know, when you take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad is, we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to look at places like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. DC, 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. Is that where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication, there was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think family's going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. Every American has a constitutional right to be able to access and petition their government in safety, and countless federal officials and employees likewise have the right to carry out their jobs in peace without being shot. As you know, I lost a very good person a while ago. Was shot waiting for his wife. He was in the car. They robbed his car. They shot him. They killed him like it was nothing to it. She was walking to the car. She was a horror show. This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with DC, and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. Days ago, a former member of the Doge staff was savagely beaten by a band of roving thugs after defending a young woman from an attempted carjacking. He was left dripping in blood. He thought he was dead, with a broken nose and concussion. Can't believe that he's alive. He can't believe it. In June, a 21-year-old congressional intern was tragically killed after being hit by a stray bullet in a drive-by shooting. A former Trump administration official named Mike Gill, fantastic person, was murdered last year in cold blood in a carjacking blocks away from the White House. We all knew him. Great person. Waiting for his wife as she was walking to the car. The Democrat congressman was also carjacked at gunpoint not far from the Capitol. And in 2023, an aide to Senator Rand Paul was stabbed in the chest and head by a demented lunatic as he walked down the street, just absolutely for no reason. Horrifically, last July 4th weekend, a 3-year-old girl was shot in the head and killed while sitting in a car near the Capitol. It's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness. And we're getting rid of the slums too. We have slums here. We're getting rid of them. I know it's not politically correct. You'll say, oh, so terrible. No, we're getting rid of the slums where they live. Caravans of mass youth rampage through city streets at all times of the day. There are ATVs, motorbikes. They travel pretty well. Entire neighborhoods are now under emergency curfews. Just this past weekend, gunfire went through, and you saw that, the Navy Yard. I saw it this morning. They saw that they fought back against, let's see, they fight back until you knock the hell out of them, because it's the only language they understand. But they fought back against law enforcement last night, and they're not going to be fighting back long, because I've instructed them and told them, whatever happens, they love to spit in the face of the police. As the police are standing up there in uniform, they're standing, and they're screaming at them an inch away from their face. And then they start spitting in their face. And I said, you tell them, you spit and we hit. And they can hit real hard. It's a disgusting thing. I've watched that for years, 3-4 years. I've watched them. Police are standing, and they're told, do anything under any such, so this, and you can see they want to get at it. And they're standing there, and people are spitting in their face, and they're not allowed to do anything. But now they are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. Now, we're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote, because the Democrats are weak on crime, totally weak on crime. They don't know why. They want to stop because they get mugged too. But we're going to change no cash bail. We're going to change the statute and get rid of some of the other things, and we'll count on the Republicans in Congress and Senate to vote. We have the majority, so we'll vote. We don't have a big majority, but we've gotten everything, including the great, big, beautiful bill. Got that done, and that's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to people in this country. We're starting to figure it out, how good it is. Biggest tax cut in history. So many things. But we'll be able to get that done. So Todd, if you and Pam can draw up things working with the people, I'll get it passed. We'll get it passed with the Republicans. Probably won't get, think of this, probably won't get one Democrat vote, because they have no idea what they're doing. That's why they want men playing in women's sports. That's why they want transgender for everybody transgender. And they've just got walloped in an election, in a landslide, and they haven't changed one thing. I saw the other day the certain gentleman who was a very well-known politician, Democrat, was fighting like hell that men should be allowed to play in women's sports. They just don't get it. They said it's an 80-20 issue, and I think it's a 97-3 issue. And I don't know who the three are. I've never heard anybody nobody's ever come up to me, sir, you have to let men play in women's sports. You have to do it, sir. Nobody's ever approached me. I don't know where this issue even comes from. Never seen anything like it. But they turned our nation's capital into a sanctuary jurisdiction. That's the other thing. We have to get rid of sanctuary cities as quickly as possible. We're going to do it, too. We have to. Because it's sanctuary for criminals. Releasing illegal alien gang members onto the streets. In 2022, nearly 70% of criminals arrested in Washington went unprosecuted. That's not going to happen with the group we have standing aside and standing behind me. And at the Metropolitan Police Department, it's now reached a small number relatively compared to what it was, but it's thousands of people. We have thousands of police. I was told today, sir, they want more police. I heard a number, 3,500 police. That's a lot of police. 3,500. I thought they were gonna say, we only have 30 policemen. Or what? He said, we have 3,500. We need more. You don't need more. That's so many. That's like an army. How could you need more than 3,000? It just happened 2 minutes ago. Sir, they've requested more police. Oh, what do they have? About 3,500. I said, 3,500? This is not a big area. It's ridiculous. What you need is rules and regulations, and you need the right people to implement them. And we have the right people here, that I can tell you. Look at the border. Biden said there's nothing you can do. Kamala was the border czar. She never called one of the border patrol agents who are great. ICE was great. Never spoke to anybody. Never went there. But she was the border czar. And everybody said it was impossible to fix. I fixed it in 3 months. No, really. I fixed it the first week, but really fixed it over the last couple of months. And I mean, literally to a point where, as I said, 0 illegals entering our country in the last 90 days. Pretty amazing. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to take years, because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. You know, if you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible. But I'm very competent. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime. We're not going to have crime either. They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way. Because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We're the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always have. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. It's not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything, because some designer said, well, we need 1/4 inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency. The District of Columbia, Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry, if you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. Just got him. Most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the Metropolitan Police Department. Okay? And you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police. And those people are the ones that want to help you. This city will no longer be a sanctuary for illegal alien criminals. We will have full, seamless, integrated cooperation at all levels of law enforcement, and we'll deploy officers across the district with an overwhelming presence. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy. Because you'll be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street. You're going to have a lot of essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed, by the way. We're going to have National Guard, but Pete Hegseth will tell you about it. We will bring in the military if needed. People say, oh, that's so terrible. He's going to bring in, it's been used many times over the years. I don't think we'll need it. I think we've got so many great people, including the people that are in the police department with proper leadership. They'll immediately begin massive enforcement operations targeting known gangs, drug dealers, and criminal networks to get them the hell off the street, maybe get them out of the country, because a lot of them came into our country illegally. They shouldn't have been allowed in. They come from Venezuela. They come from all over the world. We're going to get them the hell out. They won't be here long. But some of these people, a lot of them are homegrown criminals. And these are bad people. These are rough people. And this is just a list of some of the people that were given to me today that were criminals removed from the DC streets this weekend. They were rough and tough. But we're rougher and tougher. Look at these people here. Nothing, you know. They're not going to be your local school teacher. Look at this guy. He has killed people numerous times. They're not going to be an asset. They will never be an asset to society. I don't care. I know we all want to say, oh, they're going to be rehabbed. It's not going to be rehabbed. I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to come up and say a couple of words because he's in charge, as you know. He's Interior, but he's in charge of the U.S. Park Police. And I've heard so many great things about the Park Police. They're proud of it. They've been there for a long time. Their families oftentimes grow into the roles. They love the country. They love this area. So, Doug, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the U.S. Park Police, this is the oldest federal police force in the nation. They were formed in 1791 by none other than President George Washington. They've got the awesome responsibility of protecting our nation's most sacred monuments. The National Mall, Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, Statue of Liberty, and out west, the Presidio and the Golden Gate area. These folks have tens of millions of visitors a year, the kind of people that President Trump's talking about that come from around the country and around the world to see our sacred and learn about our history and our sacred monuments. They've been doing a fantastic job, but they are so pleased, the rank and file, that President Trump is now allowing them to enforce the law. As those of you that live in the city may know, that the circles and the triangle parks that are spread throughout DC are actually federal park property. So the U.S. Park Police also have responsibility for that. These became littered with homeless camps under the Biden administration. All of you saw that. Since President Trump's executive order on March 27th, making DC safe and beautiful again, the U.S. Park Police have removed over 70 homeless camps. And President Trump also talked about beautification. They're stopping and enforcing laws against graffiti on our monuments. They've removed over 80 specific attacks against our history with graffiti on our monuments. So they continue to do a great job, whether it's in their vehicles, on foot, or on the mounted police on the National Mall. And President Trump, they thank you. The rank and file is so happy to be enforcing the law. And thank you for your leadership. And they're excited about the announcements you're making today.
Great job. Thank you very much. Pete, could you say something about the military?
Well, Mr. President, it's an honor to be here. And at your direction this morning, we mobilized the DC National Guard. It'll be operationalized by the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll, through the DC Guard. You will see them flowing into the streets of Washington in the coming week. At your direction as well, sir, there are other units we are prepared to bring in. Other National Guard units, other specialized units. They will be strong, they will be tough, and they will stand with their law enforcement partners. This is nothing new for DOD. As the President noted, at the border, we've got 10,000 troops down there who've been operating in defense cooperation areas, defense zones, where there's zero illegal crossings because of troops on strikers standing the border. We've been protecting other people's borders for 20 years. It's about time we protect our own, and we're working with ICE and CBP. In Los Angeles, we did the same thing, working with the California National Guard, working with ICE officers. ICE officers deserve to do their job and not be attacked. We will work alongside all DC police and federal law enforcement to ensure this city is safe, this city is beautiful, and as I always say about President Trump to the troops, he has their back. And my message to the National Guard and federal law enforcement in Washington is, we have your back as well. Be tough, be strong, we're right behind you. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm going to ask Pam, because she's now, as you heard me say, she's really in charge of a lot of what we're talking about. She's done an incredible job. People are going to start to see the fruits of her labor. And Pam, maybe you could say a few words about what we're talking about here.
Let me be crystal clear. Crime in DC is ending and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our capital. Families come here every summer. Our museums are free. We have the National Zoo. We have the National Gallery. DC should be a place where everyone can come and feel safe. Behind me and to my side, we have some of the best career law enforcement and prosecutors in the country who are ready to take this on. As the president said, Terry Cole is going to be supervising the Metro Police Department. Gadi Saralta, our U.S. Marshal, is going to be supervising command and control, the entire operation. Our Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and I will be working with them closely, along with our great FBI Director, Kash Patel. Kash is going to talk to you in a minute about what we did in Virginia recently with Governor Youngkin. Many of you covered that, and it was tremendously successful. Not only that, our secret weapon here in D.C. is U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, one of the toughest prosecutors and a former judge, and she is going to be talking about juvenile crime, how it's out of control here, and what she's going to do to fight back. No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital. No more teenage girls beating a disabled man to death. No more of that. No more drive-bys. We're going to do everything we can. And working with the ATF Director Driscoll and Commander of the Army, we're going to all work together. That's what we all do in this room. We work together, we fight. Do not underestimate one person in this room. We're going to make DC beautiful. We're going to make DC safe again. One other thing, just at the wharf a few days ago, the area of the wharf, Terry Cole reached out to me, not even nightfall, on the weekend, where so many families in tourists go. A guy's overdosing from fentanyl on a park bench in the middle of families around. They administer Narcan and saved his life. No more of that. The President of the United States is going to clean up DC, and we're going to be there to help him, and we're going to be successful. Thank you.
Northern Virginia, we had a big success.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for your leadership, Deputy Attorney General, and the rest of our interagency partners. Mr. President, the following is what happens when you let good cops be cops, and I just want to highlight that before I get into Northern Virginia. This year alone, under President Trump's administration, we've had over 4,000 child victims identified and found. That's a 33% increase from the same time period last year. 33% increase. We've had a seizure of 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl up to this date. That is a 25% increase since the same time period last year. And just to put it in perspective, 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl is enough to kill 115 million Americans. 115 million Americans. Cops are getting after it. The FBI has arrested 19,000 people this year alone. Thanks to President Trump's administration, that's double than where we were this time last year. And we have also arrested 1,600 people who have committed violent acts against children. 270 of them are human traffickers of children. Mr. President, this is what happens when you have great leadership at the Attorney General with Pam Bondi, your administration's priority of protecting the homeland and protecting American citizens and protecting our children, and the murder rates are plummeting. We are now able to report that the murder rate is on track to be the lowest in U.S. history, in modern recorded U.S. history, thanks to this team behind me and President Trump's priorities. And how do we do it? And what are we going to bring to D.C.? What we did in Northern Virginia, thanks to Terry Cole and Governor Youngkin and the team, we stood up a task force out in my Northern Virginia field office, and we said, let's let good cops be cops, let's get them the intelligence and what they need, and let's get the red tape out of their way, and let's get DOJ partnered up with us to bring great prosecutions, and that's exactly what we did. In 1 month, we arrested 545 violent felons, 545 in the state of Virginia, thanks to Governor Youngkin's partnership. And that simplicity in law enforcement is what's coming to Washington, D.C. When you let good cops be cops, when you give them the intel they need, when you work with our Homeland Security Task Force, when you work with Terry and Gaddy and I go way back to Miami, these guys are great leaders of the respective departments and law enforcement capacities. And when you have the DOJ and President Trump driving behind this mission, we are going to clean up Washington, D.C., and we're going to do it the right way, the lawful way, and we're going to make sure Washington, D.C. is safe again. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Attorney General.
So the process begins right now. Actually started over the weekend. We confronted a lot of very bad people, but it's going to be something that will be pretty amazing to you as you watch it. And I think most of you say it's a beautiful thing to do it right. We're going to be removing homeless encampments from all over our parks, our beautiful, beautiful parks, which now a lot of people can't walk on. They're very dirty, got a lot of problems. But we've already started that. We're moving the encampments away, trying to take care of people. Some of those people, we don't know how they even got there. Some of those people are from different countries, different parts of the world. Nobody knows who they are. They have no idea that they're there. Getting rid of the people from underpasses and public spaces from all over the city. There are many places that they can go. We're going to help them as much as you can help. But they'll not be allowed to turn our capital into a wasteland for the world to see. The Metropolitan Police Department and the federal authorities will be supported in the effort, a really big effort, the 800 DC National Guardsmen that we'll put on it, much more necessary, much more. You remember I said, I offered 10,000 once. Remember I said to a certain person, a person who I thought always was highly overrated, not very competent. But I said, if you need it, we'll give you 10,000 of the military or the National Guard. They turned me down. But if necessary, we're going to move service members directly to joining the Guardsmen. And that'll take place very rapidly, and that'll be done in conjunction with BAM and with Pete and everybody else. Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, and most beautiful cities anywhere in the world. And we're going to make it. We're going to make it safe. We're going to make it smart. We're going to make it beautiful. So beautiful. Some of the buildings, we're going to add to it. You see what we've done at the White House. The White House is a whole different building. I do that in my part-time because it's a natural instinct as a real estate person. I was very good at that. I was very good at fixing things up. I like fixing things up. You see what's happening. The marble floors are being reinstalled, renovated, fixed. The whole place is becoming very beautiful. We're going to be adding a magnificent ballroom, most beautiful ballroom I think anywhere. We need it. I would have certainly loved to have it today. I think we would have filled it up. A lot of you are standing outside, can't get in this room. I've never seen the room like this, which tells me that you want to talk about, I mean, this was a DC news conference. It tells me that you want to talk about crime in DC and beautification of DC, but I'm going to put that's easy. And I think, frankly, fixing the crime with the pros, fixing the crime is easy too. A person who I've known for a long time, and she's been incredible. She was a fantastic, one of the best ever district attorneys in New York. She was in Westchester and became a judge, very successful judge. And then she went into show business because she was such a good DA and such a good judge, tough judge, but fair, always fair. Nobody ever complained about that, but she was tough. And because of that and her reputation, she went into show business. So a lot of people don't, they think of Janine as show business. Actually, show business was not her thing. And she did great. She was on, along with a couple of other of my friends, on the #1 show. And she did great, but this is what she she loves doing. This is really her baby. What she's going to do is going to be incredible. And I'd like to speak for just a few seconds on what she has in mind, what she wants to do. We're going to be appointing some judges. You know, we have some open spots, and we're going to take people, because the judges are letting killers out. They just say, go, it's okay, don't worry about it. So we're putting some, Pam recommended, Todd recommended, some judges that are great. Janine recommended. Janine's given me 3 great candidates already. We have about 10 open spots, so we can probably create some more. We need them. Janine, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, and to all my partners here. We all want the same thing. We all want a safe city. We want a safe capital. We want to be able to bring our families here. We want to be able to come and enjoy the history that makes this place great. And unfortunately, we are not in that position right now. And Mr. President, I want to thank you for taking the step that we need right now to make criminals understand that they are not going to get away with it anymore. And I'm not going to stand here and go over and over the cases. But what I can tell you is this. I see too much violent crime being committed by young punks who think that they can get together in gangs and crews and beat the hell out of you or anyone else. They don't care where they are. They can be in DuPont Circle, but they know that we can't touch them. Why? Because the laws are weak. I can't touch you if you're 14, 15, 16, 17 years old and you have a gun. I convict someone of shooting another person with an illegal gun on a public bus in the chest, intent to kill. I convict him. And you know what the judge gives him? Probation. Says you should go to college. We need to go after the DC Council and their absurd laws. We need to get rid of this concept of, no cash bail. We need to recognize that the people who matter are the law-abiding citizens. And it starts today. But it's not going to end today, because the president is going to do everything we need to do to make sure that these emboldened criminals understand we see you, we're watching you, and we're going to change the law to catch you. And my final note is this. These kids understand that the jurisdiction is through the State Attorney General, Brian Schwab. I did a poster of the young man from Doge who was beaten bloody with a severe concussion, a broken nose. And then I did a poster of what happens to those kids, because I can't arrest them, I can't prosecute them. They go to family court, and they get to do yoga and arts and crafts. Enough. It changes today. Thank you, Mr. President.
If I could, I just signed some executive orders. I'd like to have Will please come up and let the people know what we signed. You want to put them on?
A short while ago in the Oval Office, President Trump signed 2 crucial executive actions to deal with the emergency crime conditions we currently face in the District of Columbia. The first of these was an executive order, as President Trump said before, invoking his powers under Section 40 of the Home Rule Act to take federal control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Along with that executive order, President Trump signed the statutorily required notification letters to Mayor Bowser and to the relevant House and Senate committee leaders. The second major executive action that President Trump signed was a presidential memorandum directing the Secretary of Defense to utilize the National Guard to address the conditions we see on our streets here in D.C. It also authorized the Secretary of Defense to work with state governors to utilize their National Guard units if necessary as well. These are bold, decisive steps intended to combat the out-of-control crime conditions we've seen on D.C. streets for far too long. And I, for one, am deeply proud to be part of an administration that's finally coming to terms with these issues, sir.
Thank you.
Sir.
So, just to conclude, Washington, D.C. should be one of the safest, cleanest, most beautiful places anywhere in the world. It was years ago. We had one problem that was a pretty big problem. the radical left got out of control and they started trying to rip down statues. And I said, let's go pass a law real fast. We're going to do it real fast. But we were blocked by the Democrats who do not want safety. Nobody gets it. I don't get it. They don't get it. Because they can't get votes. I don't know how they can win an election with this, but they don't want safety. And I found an old statute, very old, early 1900s, that said if you so much as touch or even think about destroying a statue or a monument in Washington, D.C., you go to jail for 10 years with no probation, no anything. It was slightly different than we have today. Today we have cashless bail. There you get jailed 10 years. No curtailed sentence, 10 years. And we took it out. Nobody used it. It was never used because it was harsh. And you remember they started to rip down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, that's a tough one to rip down. He was pretty good, man. I think he was pretty good. When the rope started going around Abraham Lincoln to pull him down, Andrew Jackson, others. And they were heading to the Jefferson Memorial, Thomas Jefferson. They do a big number there. I said time. And I signed that statute immediately. We had it updated, we made it, use the same language, all passed by Congress. And I announced it's 10 years in jail, no probation, no anything, 10 years, no curtail sentence if you touch, so much as touch the statue in Washington, D.C. And it was an amazing sight, beautiful sight. Everybody just left. The ropes were hanging around Andrew Jackson. There were 2 ropes around Abraham Lincoln. They left the rope. But everybody just left, and that was the last problem we ever had. You know, that was the last problem that we ever had with the statues. They were going wild. And somebody came to me and said, sir, in 1910, I don't want to give you the exact, as you'll say, Donald Trump gave us wrong dates around like early on. You know, if I'm slightly off, they make you sound a little bad. So I won't put myself in that position. I won't put you in that position. Because I think everybody agrees with what we're doing today. But when I signed that thing, it was like a miracle. Everybody left. They were gone. They were starting to march down. They started the march toward Thomas Jefferson. And I figured he was always going to be safe. But they found something with him, and they found something with Abraham Lincoln. And even in the name George Washington in California, numerous places changed the name of George Washington High School and various other places. They took George Washington. This was a sick, woke culture that I think we've largely ended. And a lot of those people that were woke are now turning out to be the opposite. I won't go so far as to say MAGA. It's a very special category. But they've gotten out of that. But we have people that love this country, and they love this really beautiful capital. It is. I flew over it the other day, and I said, what a beautiful place. But there's crime all over the streets. When you get there, it doesn't look so beautiful. But we're going to make it beautiful again. We're going to fix it with crime, and we're going to also, as we're doing that, we're going to start doing things that we know how to do, that I know how to do better than anybody, I guess, because of my experience from previous life. But not only are we stopping the crime, we're going to clean up the trash and the graffiti and the grime and the dirt and the broken marble panels and all of the things they've done to hurt this city. And we're going to restore the city back to the gleaming capital that everybody wants it to be. It's going to be something very special. All of these people are really tough. Could I shake your hand, Getty, please? You're going to be so important here. You're going to be that guy. I hope I don't have to fire him in 2 weeks because he's too soft. I don't think he's too soft. If I do, I will, though. Is it okay if you're soft, weak, and pathetic like so many people? I will fire you so fast. You're not going to have to worry about that. No, I think you're going to do a fantastic job. And everybody in this room, they may not express it, but they all want that to happen. You know, they want to be safe, and they have families too. So it's an honor to have such a large group. I've done this for years now, hard to believe. I've never seen this room so packed. In fact, I'm sure it's a violation of every fire code. But we'll let you stay anyway, you're taking a chance. And with that, we'll say, maybe if you could, oh, wow. We could be here all day long. If you could, if we could keep the first questions perhaps to this subject, and then we'll go into a few others. Please.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Can you talk about how personal of an issue this is? You sort of talked about flying over the Washington Monument and seeing the pride of what DC is. Do you believe the status of the city, the cleanliness, the way that crime is low, is a direct reflection on how the country is run?
Yeah, I do. I think the Capitol, look, everyone comes here. They're all coming. All the leaders, they're all wanting to come. And I say it, I've said it again, but I'm really just quoting other leaders from NATO, from the Middle East, King of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. I was over there. We brought back $5.1 trillion of investment into our country. But I was, a month and a half ago, I was at NATO. We had a great, they agreed to put up 5% instead of 2%. 2% they didn't pay, 5% is already paid. We had a great meeting, and they all said the same thing. They said our country was dead. They thought our country was gone. 1 year ago, they said your country was dead, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country in the world right now. The tariffs have helped. It's given us not only the money, it's billions, trillions of dollars of money, but it gives us great power over enemies. We solved 5 wars. Pakistan and India, we just solved one. Azerbaijan, and as you know, and Armenia. The war was raging for 37 years, and the 2 leaders got up and they said, we never thought this would be solved. Russia tried to solve it. They all tried to solve it. It was a very tough situation, but we got it done and got it done. And I said to the 2 men, I said, are you guys friends? And they had a hard time. You know, they've been killing each other for 37 years, right? One was there 5 years, one was there for 22 years. He said, my whole life I've been fighting this war, and you got it solved. But we did many of those. We did in the Congo and Rwanda. That's been going on for 30 years. 8 to 9 million people killed that they know of. It was raging, and we got that solved. We got a lot of them. It's a great honor. But you want to have, when they come, the leaders come to our country to sign documents that the war is over or whatever, or for other reasons. They come for trade. And you want them to come through so beautifully. You ride down those roads, everything should be perfect. You shouldn't have medians falling down into the roadway. Median, you know, the metal things that are always, somebody had a great lobbyist, because I've never seen them look good. I've been looking at those things with the little, right? They're always broken, bad, but here they're really bad. And we're gonna either put new or fix it, and it's not expensive, it's not really expensive, and we're gonna fix our roads a little bit, we're gonna clean up our sidewalks. You have countries where every Saturday, the people go out and they wash their sidewalks in front of their stores or their houses. They scrub their sidewalks. So we aren't quite at that level yet, I don't think. Gaddy, we're not quite there yet, but maybe we will. They go out and they scrub. I think it's so beautiful to hear that and to see those stories. But we're going to make it clean. But just to finish with your question, it's a very, very strong reflection of our country. And when they see a bad city, you know, my father always used to tell me, I had a wonderful father, very smart, and he used to say, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in, because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's dirty also. Same thing with the Capitol. If our Capitol's dirty, our whole country is dirty, and they don't respect us. So it's a very good question, actually.
Question for you on the specific issue. Do you expect more cities to follow DC's path if this goes through? So the idea is that Chicago, LA, San Francisco, would they expect similar action what we've seen in DC? And the other question, sir, there is reporting that the administration is going to reclassify marijuana. Would that send mixed messages that if marijuana is okay, some drugs are okay, but we're trying to clean up crime? How do they go hand in hand?
We're only looking at that. That's early, but you know, somebody reported it, which is fine. We're looking at it. Some people like it, some people hate it. some people hate the whole concept of marijuana because if it does bad for the children, it does bad for people that are older than children. But we're looking at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the next, I would say, over the next few weeks. And that determination hopefully will be the right one. Very complicated subject is, the subject of marijuana. I've heard great things having to do with medical, and I've had bad things having to do with just about everything else. But medical and, for pain and various things, I've heard some pretty good things, but for other things, I've heard some pretty bad things. The other part of your question, we're just gonna see what happens with it all. You're gonna have, we're gonna have a tremendous success of what we're doing. Other cities are hopefully watching this. They're all watching, just like everyone's watching here. They're all watching, and maybe they'll clean up, and maybe they'll do this and get rid of the cashless bail thing and all of the things that caused the problem. If you go back, this whole thing with cashless bail is a disaster. So many problems came that we never had before. So they're watching us today, and if they don't learn their lesson, if they haven't studied us properly, because we're going to be very successful, I have zero doubt about that. It's a question of will it be really fast, like the border. Everyone said, they used to say, Biden used to say, I need legislation, I didn't get any legislation. I called up our people, and we did a great job. Tom Homan was great. As you know, our secretary did a great job. They did a great job. There's no games. They didn't play games. And we're going to have the same thing here. But then I'm going to look at New York in a little while. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's see. It's going to go pretty quickly. And if we need to, we're going to do the same thing in Chicago, which is a disaster. We have a mayor there who's totally incompetent. He's an incompetent man. And we have an incompetent governor there. Pritzker's an incompetent. His family threw him out of the business, and he ran for governor. And now I understand he wants to be president. But I noticed he lost a little weight, so maybe he has a chance. You never know what happens. But Pritzker's a gross incompetent guy, thrown out of the family business. But when I look at Chicago and I look at LA, if we didn't go to LA 3 months ago, LA would be burning like the part that didn't burn. If you would have allowed the water to come down, which I told them about in my first term, I said, you're going to have problems, let it come down. We actually sent in our military to have the water come down into LA. They still didn't want it to come down after the fires. But that was it, we have it coming down. But hopefully LA's watching. That mayor also, the city's burning. They lost like 25,000 homes. I went there the day after the fire. You were there, and I saw people standing in front of a burned down home. Their homes were incinerated. They weren't like, even the steel was literally, it was all warped and literally disintegrated because of the winds and the flame and the whole thing, like a blowtorch. They were standing on this beautiful day, maybe a couple of days after. We gave it a little time because they had suffered. Almost 25,000 homes. And you see what's happening now. They didn't give their permits. I went to a town hall meeting. I said, we're going to get you the federal permits, which are much harder. Almost immediately. Lee Zeldin is a star. He did an incredible job. They have all their federal permits. They don't have their city permits. And the mayor said to me, we think we could have them in 2 years. I was walking down the street, and I met with firemen and police. And I was saying hello to many people that were standing in front of their homes with yellow tape. You can't go in. You can't go onto the lot. And those people wanted to start rebuilding the homes then and there. And the mayor said we should be able to get them the permits within 2 years. I said, that's a shame. 2 years? Are you kidding? I'm going to get them the federal permit like almost immediately. 2 years. And she blew it back. Well, maybe 1 year. The place was booing her out of the place. They don't have their permits to build their homes. And now they're talking about putting, this is among the most beautiful areas was in the country. Now they're talking about putting low-income housing there. Can you believe this? I love low-income housing. I made money with low-income housing. I built low-income housing. I know more about low-income housing and luxury housing. I know about everything real estate. They want to replace some of those homes with low-income housing. They haven't gotten their permits yet. We've gotten all the federal permits, which are much tougher to get, and it was done almost immediately through Lee Zeldin and Federal Environmental. And I watched the other day, those people are angry, and now, you know, they had tremendous, they loved that area, they loved the whole big area, different places, but they loved it, it was all luxury stuff and beautiful stuff, and some wasn't that luxury, but the level of love for that neighborhood, their neighborhoods was incredible. And you know what, I watch people on television, they want to go, they want to leave, they've lost their spirit, they've lost their heart, because the mayor's incompetent, and Gavin Newsom is incompetent. Got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it. He's incompetent. And you have Los Angeles is, you know, it's amazing. You know, I called, first thing I did, I got the Olympics to go there. I was the one that got it. And by a rare thing that happened, I'll be the president. I was very upset because I got the Olympics there, and I said I won't be president when it comes, but bad things happened, and illegal things happened, really illegal things happened. Now it turns out, one good thing was I'm going to be the president for the Olympics for 2050, for 250, which is going to be fantastic, and also for the World Cup. So we have a lot of good things, and I hope 250 is going to be, 250th anniversary is going to be the best. But when I looked at those people, and I saw last night on television that they still don't have their permits, it's a disgrace what's happened in Los Angeles.
The China tariff deadline is tonight, but do you plan to extend that?
We'll see what happens. China's been, we've been dealing very nicely with China, as you probably have heard. They have tremendous tariffs that they're paying to the United States of America. And we'll see what happens. They've been dealing quite nicely. The relationship is very good with President Xi and myself.
You mentioned your upcoming meeting with President Putin. Can you
Yeah.
tell us what you hope to get out of that and whether you consider inviting President Zelensky to join?
So you have to understand, there's a war that should have never happened. There's a war that wouldn't have happened if I were president. Would have never happened. It was the apple of his eye. I got along very well with President Putin. But if you look, under President Bush, they took a lot of territory. Under President Obama, they took a lot of territory. Under Biden, they essentially took the whole thing. You know, it's just a question of time. Under Trump, you know what they took? Nothing. I was the one that said, you can't build your pipeline that was half built. I came in, I stopped the pipeline. It's called Nord Stream 2. Nobody knows that, you know, nobody ever heard of Nord Stream 2. You might have not even heard. Biggest pipeline in the world. I stopped it. I was not a friend of Russia, but I got along well with Putin. It's always good to get along with other countries if possible. But that doesn't mean you roll over like Biden did. Biden came in and he immediately approved the pipeline. I couldn't believe it. Then they say Trump wasn't tough on Russia. I wasn't tough. I was the toughest. Putin said, if you're not tough, I would hate like hell to see you. I stopped the biggest economic development job, the biggest job that Russia had ever built. I stopped it. It was dead. And this low IQ president came in and he let them build a pipeline and supply oil and gas all over Europe, you know? So this is really a feel-out meeting, a little bit. And President Putin invited me to get involved. He wants to get involved. I believe he wants to get it over with. Now, I've said that a few times, and I've been disappointed because I'd have like a great call with him, and then missiles would be lobbed into Kiev or some other place, and you'd have 60 people laying on a road dying. I said, that's cold, but it's a violent war. 5,000 to 7,000 people a week are dying. And you know, there's nobody from here. They're all Russian and Ukrainian people, and some people from the cities, much smaller number, but still, those missiles do damage and they kill a lot of people, but mostly soldiers. And they're young soldiers, although in the case of Ukraine, they're getting much older. They're drafting 60-year-olds now. It's a terrible thing to witness, and I think I have an obligation. Look, this is Joe Biden's war. This is not my war. I made a deal with NATO a month ago. You covered it very accurately, actually. We don't pay anything anymore. You know, we're not paying anything. They are buying things from us, and NATO is paying us. I got it raised from 2% of GDP to 5%. And they're paying us for everything that we said. We're not paying. But Biden approved $350 billion. Europe has spent $100 billion. The money that's been spent and the death is incredible. It's the worst thing that's happened, by far the worst that's happened since World War II. So I'm going in to speak to Vladimir Putin, and I'm gonna be telling him, you gotta end this war, you gotta end it. And he wasn't gonna mess with me. This war would have never happened. You know, we had a discussion about it one time, and we never had that discussion again, would have never happened. And when the election was rigged, and then Biden took office, which was, barely took office, the auto pen took office, bad things started happening, bad things, stupid things were said, and it ended up in a war. And you know, and I don't believe this will happen anymore, because I have that pretty well covered. This could end up in a third world war. This could have been a third world war. I don't think that's gonna happen now. But I thought it was very respectful that the president of Russia is coming to our country as opposed to us going to his country or even a third party place. But I think we'll have constructive conversations. Then after that meeting, immediately, maybe as I'm flying out, maybe as I'm leaving the room, I'll be calling the European leaders who I get along with very well. And, you know, I have a great relationship, I think, with all of them. And I get along with Zelensky, but, you know, I disagree with what he's done. Very, very severely disagree. This is a war that should have never happened, wouldn't have happened. But I'll be speaking to Zelensky. The next meeting will be with Zelensky and Putin, or Zelensky and Putin and me. I'll be there if they need, but I want to have a meeting set up between the two leaders. I was a little bothered by the fact that Zelensky was saying, well, I have to get constitutional approval. I mean, he's got approval to go into war and kill everybody, but he needs approval to do a land swap, because there'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody, to the good, for the good of Ukraine. Good stuff, not bad stuff. Also, some bad stuff, for both. There's good and there's bad. But it's very complex, because you have lines that are very uneven, and there'll be some swapping, there'll be some changes in land, and the word that they will use is, you know, they make changes. We're going to change the lines, the battle lines. Russia's occupied a big portion of Ukraine. They've occupied some very prime territory. We're going to try and get some of that territory back for Ukraine. But they've taken some very prime territory. They've taken largely ocean, you know, in real estate we call it oceanfront property. That's always the most valuable property. If you're in a lake, a river, or an ocean, it's always the best property. Well, Ukraine, a lot of people don't know that Ukraine was largely 1,000 miles of ocean. It's gone. Other than one small area, Odessa, it's a small area, there's just a little bit of water left. So I'm going to go and see the parameters. Now, I may leave and say, good luck, and that'll be the end. I may say this is not going to be settled. I mean, there are those that believe that Putin wanted all of Ukraine. I happen to be one of them, by the way. I think if it weren't for me, he would not be even talking to anybody else right now. But I'm going to meet with him. We're going to see what the parameters are. I'm then going to call up President Zelensky and the European leaders right after the meeting, yeah. And I'm going to tell them what kind of a deal. I'm not going to make a deal. It's not up to me to make a deal. I think a deal should be made for both. I think Russia has to get back into building their country. It's a massive country. I think they have 11 time zones, if you can believe it. It's a massive, it's by far, from the standpoint of land, it's by far the largest. They have tremendous potential in Russia to do well. They're not doing well. Their economy is not doing well right now because it's been very well disturbed by this. It doesn't help when the President of the United States tells their largest or second largest oil buyer that we're putting a 50% tariff on you if you buy oil from Russia. That was a big blow. And then they say, gee, he wasn't so tough. Nobody else would have done that. And I haven't stopped there. I mean, look, I was all set to do things far bigger than that, but I got a call that they'd like to meet, and I'm going to see what they want to meet. I'd like to see a ceasefire. I'd like to see the best deal that could be made for both parties. You know, it takes two to tango, right? So ultimately, I'll have a meeting next week. I had a great relationship with him, considering the fact that you know, I was not nice to him because of the pipeline. I ended the pipeline. I also gave the javelins. Do you ever hear of a javelin? Javelin is called a tank buster. They say that Obama gave them sheets and I gave them javelins. If it weren't for me, all those tanks that were destroyed at the first days of the war, because the tanks got stuck in the mud, some commander made a better, they would have been in Kiev in 4 hours, going down the highway. But a Russian general made a brilliant decision to go through the farmland instead. And they just had torrential rains, and the rains were so bad, and it was mud, and those tanks got stuck in the mud. I don't know who that general is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer, because all those tanks were stuck in the mud, and they went along with the javelins. I gave them the javelins, you know that, right? I gave them javelins, they gave them sheets. But I'm gonna meet with President Putin, and we're gonna see what he has in mind. And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders, and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first, and then I'll call them after. And I may say, lots of luck, keep fighting, or I may say we can make a deal. I will tell you this, I've seen a poll coming out of Ukraine. 88% of the people would like to see a deal made. And if you go back 3 years, everybody was gung-ho for war. Everybody's gung-ho for war until you have it. It's an amazing thing. I had it with a couple of countries where I couldn't get a deal done with one particular country. And I just couldn't. The guy's great. He's a friend of mine, great. Good leader, tough as hell. I couldn't get the deal done. And then he went into war for a short period of time. You know where I'm talking about. First term. And it was nasty. Guys being killed all over the place. And he went through 1 week of war, and I was able to get the deal done. He said, this is nasty. Yes, please.
Yeah, just to follow up on what you were saying. First of all, Vladimir Zelensky is not invited on Friday?
He wasn't a part of it. I would say he could go, but he's gone to a lot of meetings. He's been there for 3.5 years, nothing happened. I mean, do you want somebody that's been doing this for 3.5 years? What's the definition of a good deal? I'll tell you after I hear what the deal is. Because there could be many definitions. You're talking about a very large and complex situation. I tell you, the war that I just settled with Azerbaijan and with, as you know, in Armenia, was almost as complex as this one, having to do with routes, trade.
Meeting on Friday with Vladimir.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made. Because that's what I do, I make deals. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, one about China, one about Russia, if I could. On China, your administration agreed to send the most advanced or advanced NVIDIA and AMD chips.
No, obsolete, no.
Obsolete chip. Well, and then 15% of the
I mean,
profits.
the 20s. No, this is an old chip that China already has. And I deal with Jensen, who's a great guy, and NVIDIA. The chip that we're talking about, the H20, it's an old chip. China already has it in a different form, different name, but they have it. Or they have a combination of two will make up for it and even then some. Now Jensen's a very brilliant guy, and Jensen also has a new chip, the Blackwell. Do you know what the Blackwell is? The Blackwell is super duper advanced. I wouldn't make a deal with that, although it's possible I'd make a deal, a somewhat enhanced in a negative way Blackwell. In other words, take 30% to 50% off of it. But that's the latest and the greatest in the world. Nobody has it. They won't have it for 5 years. But the H20 is obsolete. It's one of those things, but it still has a market. So I said, listen, I want 20% if I'm going to approve this for you, for the country, for our country, for the U.S. I don't want it myself. Every time I say like 747, I want, yeah, for the Air Force. So I just wanted, so when I say I want 20, I want for the country. I only care about the country. I don't care about myself. And he said, would you make it 15? So we negotiated a little deal. So he's selling a essentially old chip that Huawei has a similar chip, a chip that does the same thing. And I said, good, if I'm going to give it to you, because they have a, they have a stopper. what we call a stopper, not allowed to do it. The restricted, it's really known as a restrictive covenant. And I said, if I'm gonna do that, I want you to pay us as a country something, because I'm giving you a release. I released them only from the age 20. Now, on the Blackwell, I think he's coming to see me again about that. But that will be a unenhanced version of the big one. Like, I don't know if you know it, we will sometimes sell fighter jets to a country, and we'll give them 20% less than we have. You know what I mean, right? That's the same.
So on Russia, do you see a time, Mr. President, when there could be normal trade between the U.S. and Russia? Should the meeting go well, should there be peace?
I do, yeah. Russia has a very valuable piece of land. If Vladimir Putin would go toward business instead of toward war, you know, it's a warring nation. That's what they do. They fight a lot of wars. A friend of mine said Russia's tough because they just keep on fighting. They beat Hitler, so did we. And they beat Napoleon. You know, they've been doing this for a long time. I asked a question to a very, very smart man that some people like and some people don't like. Viktor Orban, right? From Hungary, the head of Hungary. And he's in that same area and knows the two countries very well. I said, this was before Biden didn't do anything to get us out of that. He could have gotten us out of that. It would have never happened. I said, so can Russia be beaten by Ukraine? He looked at me like, what a stupid question. He said, Russia's a massive country, and they win their country, and they win their life through wars. They fight wars. That's what they do. He said, China beats you with trade. Russia beats you with war. It was a very interesting statement. China's not beating us with trade. Not when I'm in charge. But they were beating Biden with trade, but they never beat us with trade. Don't forget, China had to pay $400 billion worth of tariffs when I was last time. That was last time. And if we didn't have COVID, all of this stuff we would be loaded. We're finding hundreds of billions of dollars of cash is pouring into our country now because of tariffs. And all we're doing is we're doing what they do to us. It's so beautiful to see it. They found last month, as you saw, $25 billion of excess cash flow. They say, where did it come from? I said, I'll tell you where it came from. It came from a place called tariffs, and we're doing very well. We're really doing well. But I expect to have a meeting with Putin that I think it'll be good, but it might be bad. And I'm here for one reason, to get rid of a war that somebody else started. Should have never happened. And if I could end it, great. Complex war, a lot of bad blood, But Zelensky's been there for 3.5 years, so if you put him in a room, now I will say this, ultimately I'm going to put the two of them in a room. I'll be there or won't be there, and I think it'll get solved. Yeah, please do. Excuse me, I'm going to suggest, because do you have any other questions on DC? Because I don't want them to be, wait. These are incredible people. I don't want them to be standing up here on subjects that, does anybody have a question of them? And then you guys can leave. Okay, a question, Brian, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right.
And by the way, this is only on DC, and then they're gonna leave because it's unfair to have them stand up here all day long. Brian?
I've got two questions for you. First, about DC. This is personal for me as well. Last year, I was robbed on the streets by one of these teenage thugs. Had a gun, got away with it. Let's talk about the effort that between law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges, because it's a recycling belt. Like, these kids go, they don't fear the police. They know it. You talk about how we've got to get these judges and put these kids behind bars.
Right.
Adult crimes deserve adult penalties. And my second question, after you answer that, please.
You want me to answer?
Whoever it was.
Okay, it's real, do you want me to answer it? Here's the problem. assuming that they're 17 years, older than 17 years old, I can get the case. If they're under 18 years of age, I can only get the case if it's murder, rob one, rape, or even if they shoot a gun but don't kill you, I can't get it. So the law has to be changed. As the president said, capsule's bad. That has to be changed. All right, then even assuming I get the case, I get jurisdiction, I get a conviction, the DC Council has given the judges the ability to give probation on shootings. And so then it's up to them. All of these things, the Youth Rehabilitation Incarceration Reduction Act, and now they want to seal records. So if we work hard, we get a conviction, they want to wipe it out. So that needs ultimate change.
Mayor, would you answer that?
Yeah, and just back to that topic, let's be clear then, we're going to charge them, and we're going to track every single thing they do throughout every step of the court process, and report back to you, and let all of you know what's happening to them, because the people who are prosecuting them, the judges who are trying them, they also need to be held accountable.
Mr. President, this is the most people we've ever seen in this briefing.
I've never seen
Ever, right?
I've never seen it. Where's Caroline? Where's my superstar? Caroline. Is Caroline in the back? Where's Caroline? Come here, Caroline. Come here, Caroline. Come here. Is she doing a good job, by the way? Come here. Is this the largest crowd that you've ever seen?
This is definitely the most packed briefing, and I think all of you would agree. I think it's why we need to build a ballroom.
All right, Brian, go ahead.
My question is this: you're building the big, beautiful ballroom. Could we build a big, beautiful briefing room, updated technology,
No.
more seats?
I don't want to do that. I don't want you to be comfortable. So, no, I don't want to make life comfortable. So look, let's just do this. Let's do this. It's going to be a big thing. We're going to Russia. That's going to be a big deal. What happens, happens. I'll let you know what happens. You'll be the first to know. I'll be calling the European leaders. I'm going with totally, I mean, we have a lot of talks. They're great people. They're great leaders, actually. And they want to get back. Honestly, as one of them said, I've OD'd on trying to settle Ukraine. They've OD'd, meaning they've overdosed on the settlement of Ukraine. Not a nice expression, but boy, is it accurate. They're tired of it. They want to get back to spending money on their countries. You know, Biden gave them $350 billion. Europe gave $100 billion. It should be much more than that. Shouldn't have been that kind of, they should have had equalization, but they didn't. But you know what, still a lot of money. They want to get back to building their own countries. They really want it resolved. My relationship with the European leaders, as you saw, is extremely good. It's perfect. It's beautiful. Wait. And we're going to try, I'll be in touch with them. I have 5 of them call me. You think it's easy. A lot of European leaders, but they rely on me, very much rely on me. If it wasn't for me, this thing would never get solved until the last person breathing is dead. I'm talking to them right now. So I'm talking to the European leaders. I'll be talking to President Zelensky. I'm going to get everybody's ideas. I go into that thing fully loaded right up there, and we're going to see what happens. Now, I think 1 or 2 things is going to happen. It's going to be a good meeting, and we'll go a step further. We'll get it done. I'd like to see a ceasefire very, very quickly. Very quick. I'd like to see it immediately, but I'd like to see it very quickly. And we're going to be dealing with the European leaders, and we're going to be dealing with President Zelensky, and hopefully we're going to have a great success. As far as this, what we did today, and I think you will hear for DC more so than even Russia, because Russia will be, we have a couple of days to go, but the Russia is going to be very interesting. But to me, what is very exciting, we're going to take back our capital. We're going to make it beautiful again, but we're going to make it, more importantly, safe again. It's going to be so safe. It's going to be a model. And then we'll look at other cities also. But other cities are studying what we're doing. And you have some capable people in other cities. They can do it too. But we have a great group of professionals. We're going to have a safe, beautiful capital, and it's going to happen very quickly. Thank you all.
have other.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, accompanied by the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you. It's a long time, 35 years. They fought, and now they're friends, and they're going to be friends for a long time. But it's a big, beautiful honor to welcome everyone to the White House for this very historic peace summit between Armenia and Azerbaijan. It's really a great thrill for me. I love seeing good people get together, and that's what you have. You have two great leaders. I want to congratulate these two visionary people, Prime Minister Pashinyan and President Aliyev, for coming to Washington to sign this momentous joint declaration. It's a tremendously important document, and it's been a long time in coming. They were explaining before that so many times they thought they could get there. It never happened, just never happened. I also want to thank Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and their teams at the State Department. And I see that we have Chris Wright outside and Senator Steve Daines sitting right here. Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. And Steve, thank you very much. And we have some other wonderful dignitaries, including the dignitaries from your country. But they provided tremendous diplomatic assistance. And Marco, congratulations. It's a big thing. Keep going. He got many jobs. And then, of course, you would say Steve was quite influential. I call him Henry Kissinger, who doesn't leak. For more than 35 years, Armenia and Azerbaijan have fought a bitter conflict that resulted in tremendous suffering for both nations. They suffered gravely for so many years. Many tried to find a resolution, including the European Union. The Russians worked very hard on it, never happened. Sleepy Joe Biden tried, but you know what happened there. He tried for probably 12 minutes and didn't work out. And many other countries tried, and they were unsuccessful. But with this accord, we've finally succeeded in making peace, and we just left the Oval Office where we signed voluminous documents and very important elements to the agreement. The country of Armenia and Azerbaijan are committing to stop all fighting forever, open up commerce, travel, and diplomatic relations, and respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity. So importantly, And I just spent a lot of time with these two men. I think they're gonna have a great relationship, you wanna know the truth. They didn't see each other that much, but they probably will. I think I think you two are gonna have a great relationship. I have no doubt. And if you don't, call me and I'll straighten it out, okay? Very importantly, we have also resolved the key issue that foiled previous negotiations. This declaration establishes what they are calling a great honor for me. I didn't ask for this, the Trump route for international peace and prosperity, which is a special transit area that will allow Azerbaijan to get full access to its territory of Nakhchivan while fully respecting Armenia's sovereignty. So they're going to be able to really live and work together. It's amazing. So that's a very important territory, I guess, very special territory to you and now they work together. Armenia is also creating an exclusive partnership with the United States to develop this corridor, which could extend for up to 99 years. And then they promise in 99 years they'll extend it, right? You'll promise. We anticipate significant infrastructure development by American companies. They're very anxious to go in to these two countries, and they're going to spend a lot of money, which will economically benefit all three of our nations. This is incredibly positive news for the future of the entire region, and it's a very important region, as you know. Additionally, the U.S. is signing a bilateral agreement with both countries to expand cooperation in energy, trade, and technology, including AI. And in terms of energy, Chris is here representing our country, and there's nobody better than Chris Wright. And Chris, I understand, is very fertile. It's a very fertile area. So I appreciate everything you've done. You've done amazingly well. We've got the gasoline prices coming way down from where they were, and it's really been something to watch. We are drilling like we haven't drilled in many years, I guess I could say ever before, and we just started. We're also lifting restrictions on defense cooperation between Azerbaijan and the United States of America. The president, that's a big deal. Is that important to you? I think so. That was pretty good. They're very happy about that. So am I. As president, my highest aspiration is to bring peace and stability to the world. Today's signing follows our success with India and Pakistan. They were going at it. They were going at it big, and they were great, two great leaders that came together just prior to what would have been a tremendous conflict, as you know, a nuclear conflict probably. Also the Congo and Rwanda. Now that was one which was going on for 31 years. You have them beat, 35 years you had them beat. But that was going on for 31 years, and we have it all done, and people are very happy. That was a rough one. That was nasty. 7 million people that they know of died. Also, just recently, Thailand and Cambodia, that was one that was just starting. The 2,000 people were dead on the border, but it was just starting. And I was talking to one of the two nations on trade, and I said, I'm not going to sign a trade deal if you guys are going to fight. And I got the other one. Again, great leadership, Thailand and Cambodia. And before it got started, beyond that first couple of days, we stopped the war. And they've had wars periodically, very much as you two have had long-term wars. And we got it stopped. And the two, again, I find in all cases, they're great leaders. If they didn't agree, I would say they're lousy leaders, to be honest with you, but they did agree. And so Thailand and Cambodia, Serbia and Kosovo, we got something stopped that was ready to start. We didn't like that one. We didn't like it at all, and we saved a lot of lives. And numerous others. In addition, as you know, we took out the nuclear capability of Iran. And to use a term that people tried to dispute without any knowledge, it was obliterated. That's been confirmed by the Atomic Energy Commissions, everybody, that's totally obliterated. They might try again, but they're going to have to try a new site because they are, and I want to just say our military, we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment and military manufacturing anywhere in the world, nobody even close. And that sort of proved it. So getting rid of that threat from the Middle East was very big. And I think a lot of people are going to be joining right now the Abraham Accords. It's going to be very important. So hopefully we're gonna have many more successes. I hope, we're not gonna have too many more in this field, because hopefully we're not gonna be seeing too many more wars, but I came in and this whole world was on fire. All these things were sort of happening. We've only been here for 6 months. The world was on fire. We took care of just about every fire, and we're working on another one that you're reporting on very strongly with Russia, Ukraine, and we'll have some more information for you a little bit later. But I want to ask these two very special people. Again, I've gotten to know them. They're very special people, and I think they have the potential to have a great personal relationship, which is always good, but also a great just relationship. And if I might, may I ask you to say a few words, sir?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First of all, thank you for invitation. It's a big honor to be invited by the President of the United States for this historic event. Actually, we are writing a new history in a bilateral interstate relationship between the United States and Azerbaijan. We are starting the path towards a strategic partnership. The Charter on Strategic Partnership will be elaborated within several months, and that is a historic achievement for Azerbaijan, because to be in the format of strategic partnership with the greatest country of the world is a great opportunity and also a very big responsibility. And this strategic partnership format embraces so many important areas: mutual investment, trade, energy, connectivity, transit, AI, defense sales, counterterrorism. So all these areas where we had and hopefully will have very active cooperation in the future. So it opens a lot of opportunities for Azerbaijan to continue its path of development, to diversify its economy, to keep unemployment low as it is today, and to look to the future with great optimism. Also, I'm very grateful to Mr. President that he today lifted the restrictions which been imposed on Azerbaijan back in 1992, just only 1 year after Azerbaijan restored its independence. These restrictions have been imposed on us. So after 33 years, these restrictions have been lifted just today. So really, it's a day which will be remembered by the people of Azerbaijan with a feeling of pride and gratitude to President Trump for his attitude to Azerbaijan, for his vision, for not only for our region. We were exchanging views today, and I said that within several months he managed to put an end to conflicts in Asia, in Africa, and now in Southern Caucasus. What we could not achieve for more than 30 years. We had to sacrifice lives. We had to fight two very bad wars with a lot of casualties. And if not for President Trump and his team, and our great friend, Mr. Vitkov and his team, probably today, Armenia-Azerbaijan would have been again in this endless process of negotiations. So really, it's a historic day. We are today establishing peace in the Caucasus, which will open great opportunities, not only for our region. And as President Trump correctly mentioned, the Trump route for international peace and prosperity, which will create new connectivity lines, which will lift the walls, and which will create connectivity opportunities for so many countries, with investments, with prosperity, with stability. You know, Azerbaijan and Armenia, we became independent at the same time as a result of the collapse of the Soviet Union. But at that time already, we were at war. So we lost a lot of years just being preoccupied with wars and occupation and bloodshed. So today, historic day, also because we bring peace. President Trump brings peace to Caucasus, and we're grateful for that. And I'm sure that Armenia and Azerbaijan will find courage and responsibility to reconcile, and also the people will reconcile. We will turn the page of standoff, confrontation, and bloodshed, and provide bright and safe future for our children. So I'm very happy because today we're writing the great new history. And once again, Mr. President, thank you for all what you are doing for us, for our region, and for the whole world.
Great leaders. How long have you been in the leadership position?
22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That means he's tough and smart. And it's an amazing part of the world. Congratulations.
Thank
What
you.
a great honor to be involved.
Thank you very much.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have reached a significant milestone in Armenia-Azerbaijan relations. We're laying a foundation to write a better story than the one we had in the past. This breakthrough would be simply not have been possible without President Trump's personal engagement and his resolute commitment to peace in our region. The initiating of peace agreement will pave the way to end the decades of conflict between our countries and open a new era based on the full respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of each other. Today's declarations, which President Trump personally will sign as well as witness, gives confidence and assurance that we're opening a chapter of peace, prosperity, security, and economic cooperation in the South Caucasus. In this context, allow me to highlight the agreement on opening transport communications in the region based on the principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and jurisdiction. I'm particularly thrilled that together with the US, Armenia will work to bring to life the TRIP Trump wrote for peace and prosperity, a connectivity project that will unlock the entire region. TRIP will unlock strategic economic opportunities that will create long-term benefits. It will promote infrastructure investment, enhance regional connectivity, and strengthen U.S. leadership as a champion of conflict resolution. I want to thank President Trump and his team for brokering this game-changing outcome between Armenia and Azerbaijan. This is a great deal we've achieved today. This is a success for our countries and for our region, and a success for the world, because a more peaceful region means a safer world. This is peace through strength in a nutshell. Mr. President, today's great achievement is yet another testimony to your global leadership and your legacy as a statesman and a peacemaker on the world stage. Bringing peace requires vision, political courage, and determination. But what is most important is that it requires faith in the cause. As it is said in the Holy Bible, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. May God enlighten this way. Thank you, and my congratulations to all of us, President Aliyev, to you, to all of us, colleagues from Azerbaijan, Armenia, United States, and all the people of our region, all the people of our countries, and my congratulations to the world, because, as I said, it will definitely make world a better place. Thank you.
President of the United States, the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia will now sign the joint declaration on the outcomes of the Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity Summit.
That's really
They will sign
beautiful.
3 copies in English. The President of the United States signs as a witness to the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan and the Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia affirming their path to peace, stability, and prosperity. We kindly ask that all guests remain seated for the signing of the documents.
That is so great, and we'll hold up, how about holding up that document, all right? Well, thank you. This is really a big day, and we have some other big announcements, but I didn't want to make them because I don't want to do anything that could even, in a little way, overshadow what's taken place today. 35 years of death and hatred, and now it's going to be love and respect and success together. And I didn't really want to do anything that would in any way overshadow. I don't think it can be overshadowed when you're at war and so many people have suffered and so many people have been killed. And now you're going to have great peace. And I look forward to that corridor, because that corridor says, I'm going to have to get over there. I'll bring Senator Daines with me. And we're going to have to get over there, Steve. So, but this is a really great achievement. And I congratulate you. You're two incredible leaders. You're going to go down in history. And I've read the whole thing about how long it took. And you thought you were there and people let you down, and sometimes you probably let people down. Maybe, I don't know how it works, but that's the way it usually does. But this is something that is very, very special. So I don't want to get in the way of it at all, but we'll take a few questions, maybe at least slightly related, but we have some other things to announce later on in the day. Peter, please.
Related, just because you mentioned the elusive peace in Ukraine.
Right.
Who is holding up this Ukraine ceasefire summit? Is it Putin or is it Zelensky?
Well, I think it's, that one is, as you know, we've been working on a lot of these deals. We've closed every single one of them all throughout the world, and that's the last of them. And they're losing, Peter, about 6, maybe even 7,000 soldiers every single week. Russia, as you know, lost almost 25,000 over the last month and a half, and Ukraine lost just a small number, fewer. It's a lot of people are dying, and I think we're getting very close. And we're going to be announcing later on. We're going to have a meeting with Russia. We'll start off with Russia, and we'll announce a location. I think the location will be a very popular one for a lot of reasons. But we'll be announcing that a little bit later. I just don't want to do it now because of the importance of what we just did. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Are you surprised that Zelensky hasn't figured out by now, in years of war, how to deal with you and to deal with Putin without needing permission to make concessions from his parliament or from a national president?
Well, he's going out and getting what he needs. You know, he's not authorized to do certain things. I said, well, you're going to have to get it fast because, you know, we're getting very close to a deal. And he's doing that, and he's working with the European nations, and they're terrific people, terrific leaders, NATO. And as you know, I became very friendly with them. They agreed to go from 2% to 5%, 2% that they didn't pay to 5% that they've already paid. It's trillions of dollars. So, you know, we're working together very closely. But no, in all fairness to President Zelensky, he's getting everything he needs to assuming we get something done. But I'll be meeting very shortly with President Putin. It would have been sooner, but I guess there's security arrangements that unfortunately people have to make. Otherwise, I'd do it much quicker. He would too. He'd like to meet as soon as possible. I agree with it. But we'll be announcing that very shortly, okay? And location. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, with this meeting with Putin, is this Russia's last chance to achieve peace? And do you expect Ukraine to make any type of territorial concession?
Yeah, I don't like using the term last chance. Look, it's, look, this is two very, very smart people. They've been going at it and their predecessors also very smart. They've been going at it for 35 years. It's tough. And, when those guns start going off, it's awfully tough to get them to stop. It really does. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. There was no reason for it. So many people are killed, so much cultural destruction. You look at those magnificent towers, the most beautiful in the world. The spires were considered the most beautiful in the world. They're all in a million pieces, laying on the ground, all obliterated, knocked into a million pieces. So sad. But millions of people have died, and very, very much set in their ways. A lot of people were set in their ways, but I think we're getting close. I mean, this was not my war, this was Biden's war. But the European Union has been great. As you know, they're purchasing equipment from us. They have a lot of money, and they're spending a lot of money on buying equipment. We're not spending money, but we are supplying them equipment. They're paying for it. And I think that a lot of things happened recently that would make this go forward. I'm not going to mention anything having to do with India, but maybe that had an impact. But what really had an impact was NATO has stepped up in terms of their spending on buying military equipment. We're in for, probably through Biden and his people, $350 billion. $350 billion. When they hear these numbers, you're saying that's a lot of money. $350 billion the United States has spent on that. It should have spent nothing because it should have never happened. Would have never happened. And Europe is in for over $100 billion, which is, it should be the opposite if we were in for anything, but it should be the opposite. And I will say that Europe wants to see peace. The European leaders want to see peace. President Putin, I believe, wants to see peace, and Zelensky wants to see peace. Now, President Zelensky has to get all of his everything he needs, because he's going to have to get ready to sign something, and I think he is working hard to get that done. Well, you're looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years with, a lot of Russians have died, a lot of Ukrainians have died. So we're looking at that, but we're actually looking to get some back, and some swapping. It's complicated. It's actually nothing easy. It's very complicated, but we're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both. And but we'll be talking about that either later or tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, please. Say it.
If I could ask a question of your guests and also of you.
Yeah.
Of the guests, will the Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh be allowed to return? And also, do you have any thoughts on the talk about President Trump winning the Nobel Peace Prize? And for President Trump, you're working on resolving 2 other major conflicts. In Gaza, you spoke of resettling the Gazans. The country of Somaliland has expressed potential interest if you were to diplomatically recognize their independence. Are you inclined to do so? And also, did President Putin present an award to Mr. Witkoff during the recent visit?
He likes Mr. Witkoff, I can tell you that. That's true. Please, go ahead.
I think President Trump deserved to have a Nobel Peace Prize, and we will defend that, and we will promote for that, and that's obvious. So, and today's event, I think, is a very bright expression of that, and hopefully you will invite us to
front row. You'll be front row.
Yeah. We are in favor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I have a suggestion?
Yes.
So maybe we agree with Prime Minister Pashinyan to send a joint appeal to Nobel Committee to award President Trump with the Nobel Peace Prize, because from the leaders of the countries which were at war for more than 3 decades, having this historic signature here, it really means a lot. This is tangible result of President Trump's leadership, and no one could have achieved that. There have been many presidents here since beginning of 90s, and the so-called Minsk process, which, by the way, today we put an end to with my Armenian colleague, started in 1992. So negotiation under the auspices of OSCE continued for more than 3 decades without any result. So who, if not President Trump, deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? I don't want to go into the history of some very strange decisions of the Nobel Peace Committee to award the prize for someone who didn't do anything at all. But President Trump in 6 months did miracle. So I think that my Armenian colleague will support it, and judging by the reaction of the audience, I think as soon as we come back, we will agree to issue a joint letter, and hopefully, and I also join when President is awarded, we hope that he will invite us to the ceremony.
You certainly will be. Thank you very much.
Do we have draft to sign now?
Well, we'll see what happens.
We already like to sign.
Thank you very much. It's very nice. We're looking into that right now. Good question, actually, and another complex one, as you know, but we're working on that right now. Somaliland.
Thank you so much. To Russian President Putin yet, and would you go to Russia or Ukraine, and what exactly would you say?
We'll be announcing the location in maybe a little while, and I think you'll be very happy. We'll see what happens, right? All we can do is do our best. We've been working on this one for a long time. This is a very complicated one also. This was extremely complicated, but we made it less complicated, and we had two very brilliant people on my right and my left. They understood what was at stake. I think if it didn't get done now, it might have never gotten done. So this is the same, very similar with Ukraine. It became more and more complicated as time went on. It was simple at the beginning. It wasn't going to happen, but it became more and more complicated. But I think we're getting close. Yes, ma'am. Yes, go ahead, please.
Could the location for the summit be Italy?
Oh, I will give it to you very soon. I just, honestly, I don't want to do anything. These guys, I don't want to do anything where that's like, because this is a bigger story than a location. A location's good. I'm a real estate person. I know about location. But this, there's nothing to compete with this in terms of what we're doing today. It's just such a great achievement for these two. Really, they'll go down as great leaders for what they did. I put them together, but what they have been able, and I don't want to do anything. So we'll talk about it later. Today, we'll give you a location today.
You were talking about sending military forces to fight against the drug cartels in Latin America. Do you think it's worth sending our forces or U.S. forces there to take this on?
Cartels where?
Central Latin America.
Well, Latin America's got a lot of cartels. They've got a lot of drugs flowing. So, we want to protect our country. We have to protect our country. We haven't been doing it for 4 years. And we love this country like they love their countries. We have to protect our country. So, we're playing a tough game, but we'll have more to say about that soon. Yes, ma'am.
To President, I'm Sala from Azerbaijan News Agency Report. So we are grateful to be here. Today you host a truly historic meeting. As a person who values diplomacy and global interaction, do you consider the possibility to visiting Azerbaijan? Actually, you mentioned Azerbaijan and Armenia after this meeting.
Well,
To visit our countries, do you consider to visit? Wow.
which one do I consider better?
Yes.
Oh, I think if I ever said that you would say, this guy couldn't have solved the problem. You know what? I consider them both great, okay? And you know what? They're going to be even greater. But and they're very different in many ways, but they have a lot in common. But they're both great as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, please. It's an interesting question, right? That would have been a hell of an answer if I said, well, I think I like this one or that one. No, we don't do that. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, first of all, thank you for Bringing peace to South Caucasus is something that no one has been able to achieve in 35 years. That's number one. We also noticed that you think highly of the commitments that the sides have taken on and assumed. However, considering the long history of conflict and the fact that this is not a legally binding document, will there be consequences if at some point one of the sides takes a step back?
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be very good. And I told them, I gave them a personal commitment. If there's, there's always little problems here and there, right? The big ones have been solved. These are the giant ones have been solved. But if there's conflict, they both know they're gonna call me and we're gonna get it straightened out. They're not gonna have a problem. Where are you from? Okay, good, very good. I was wondering, it was a very unusual question. But it's not unusual considering you're from Armenia. If there's a problem, we will get it worked out. I told them both, don't let the problem last. We get it early and we'll get it solved. Good reporter you have over there. Okay?
Can I ask?
Please.
First of all, I'd like to say that today we initialed the peace deal, which was in the process of negotiations for quite a while. The fact that it is initialed here, in the capital number one of the world, in the office number one of the world, and in front of the great president of the United States, means that there should be no doubt and no suspicion that any of the sides would step back. If any of us, Prime Minister Pashinyan or myself, had in mind to step back, we wouldn't have come here. So you can be absolutely sure, as well as Azerbaijani community, that what has happened today will result in peace, long-lasting peace, eternal peace in the Caucasus.
That's a very nice.
I'm sorry. Fully agree and nothing to add.
That's a very nice two statements, and that's a beautifully stated statement. Let's go. A couple of more. Yeah, please.
Many in the South Caucasus have pinned the blame on your predecessor, Joe Biden, and the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, for obstacles in America's bilateral relations with Azerbaijan and peace in that part of the world. How important is it to you to elevate your country's partnership and your administration's partnership with Azerbaijan, with Armenia, and how important is this for your legacy?
Well, to me, it's very important, but it's, I know the history of what was going on because I do a lot of reading, and they've been a vicious, they've had a very contentious relationship for a long time. It's war. Most of the time was war. And so to get it done, they're great people. I know a lot of people from Armenia. I know a lot of people from both countries, and they're incredible people, and it shouldn't happen what has happened. I wish we could have been here sooner, if the election were different. I'm going to be nice today. I'm not going to be controversial and say the election was rigged. I would have had this thing solved 4 years sooner. But the truth is that's right. If the election weren't rigged, I would have been here 4 years sooner. We would have signed the same agreement 4 years sooner. But it didn't happen, and the Biden administration did really very little, actually nothing to get it done. But they did nothing to get really anything done. This country was in very serious shape. And I say it over and over again. I met all the leaders of NATO. I went, as you know, to the Middle East. I was with the King of Saudi Arabia, the leaders of great countries, right? Qatar, and, UAE, and others in the Middle East. And everyone essentially said the same thing. We had a dead country 1 year ago. We had a dead country. Our country was dying. And now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's not even close. We have the hottest country in the world. And it's an honor to use that, if you call it power or respect or whatever it is, to settle wars like we have right here to my left and my right. And these two guys are very smart. I got to know them, and they're very smart. They're not going to, I don't think they're going to ever have to bother with me. And they may call me just to bug me a little bit. Let me put them to a test and they'll call because they like to call me. But they're not going to have any problem. We have a very comprehensive agreement. It's a peace agreement. And this isn't ceasefire. This isn't we'll hold up. This is a peace agreement. And they're going to end up doing a lot of business with each other. They're going to do a lot of business with the United States. And I'm going to always remember, at least during the time that I'm here, I'm going to remember how smart they were, how good they were. And when it comes to trade and other things, we're going to always go 100% out. We'll go out of our way to make sure it comes out good for them. They did an amazingly good thing and a very brave thing. It's a very complicated part of the world they come from, very tough part of the world. It's a tough, but smart part of the world. Smart, tough people. And great wealth, great energy wealth. I was talking to Chris, and you were saying, in terms of wealth, it's enormous wealth. But wealth doesn't often solve problems. It takes other things. But they're amazing, two amazing leaders, and it's an honor to be associated with them. How about we'll do one more, please?
Your gut instincts have always done well in terms of business and in terms of politics. What does your gut tell you as it relates to the possibility of an event like this in the next few weeks, the next few months, in which you have President Putin on one side and President Zelensky on your other side?
I think my instinct really tells me that we have a shot at it, okay? And you'll find that out later on, maybe even today, but we have a shot at it. Look, it's got to be solved. We're not losing people. A lot of people say, why are you bothering? We're not losing people. We were spending hundreds of billions of dollars. Now we're spending nothing. We're spending no money. I guess we're making money because, we're great. We have the best military equipment in the world. We're selling it to NATO. But you're losing thousands of people a week. Russians and Ukrainians mostly soldiers, but, missiles are lobbed into cities and towns, Kiev, lots of places. You've been reading the same stories that I've been reading, and we got to get it solved.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee will make their announcement as it relates to this year's Nobel Peace Prize on October the 10th, Friday, October the 10th. Is that date circled on your calendar, Mr. President?
I can't say. I mean, a lot of people say no matter what I did, because, I'm of a certain persuasion, no matter what I do, they won't give it. And I'm not politicking for it. I have a lot of people that are. I know. I mean, I read the same things as you do. But it would be a great honor, certainly. But I would never politic. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because of, I really, number one, I want to save lives. That's why I'm involved so much with Ukraine and Russia, saving lives of Russians and Ukrainians. It's not American lives. Now, I would say this, that war could have escalated in something much, but that could have been a world war. I think if we didn't come, Ukraine-Russia would have ended up being a world war. And I stopped that. That stopped. Now, the only question is, when is it going to be settled? And it could be very soon, but when is it going to be? But that would have been a world war. If I didn't come along with a very talented group of people sitting largely right here, but there are others not in the room that are very talented, I think Russia, Ukraine would have had a very, very high degree, I think even probably would have ended up being in a world war. I don't think people talk about that now because they don't see it anymore, but we brought it down a long way. But that was getting to a point. When I first came in, I said, wow, this thing is really bad. And it could have escalated to a level that you people would have been very unhappy with. Yeah.
Your predecessor, Mr. President, President Ronald Reagan, had a phrase as it relates to dealing with the then Soviet Union and also Mikhail Gorbachev. The phrase was trust but verify. Do you subscribe to that same view as it relates to Mr. Putin and Russia?
Well, I do, relating to everybody. I mean, not just President Putin, but also people and leaders that I deal with. Look, I'm dealing with trade. And some of the worst deals we made, some of the worst trade deals we have, I talk about friend and foe, right? Friend and foe, two interesting words. Some of our worst trade deals were not with the foe, they were with the friends. Our friends were just killing us on trade. Not anymore, not anymore. We're taking in trillions of dollars and we're respected. And we're settling through trade, even a little bit here, less here than on some, but through trade, I got things settled. With India, Pakistan, I think it was trade more than any other reason. That's how I got involved. I said, I don't want to be dealing with countries that are trying to blow up themselves and maybe the world. They're nuclear nations. That was a big one. getting that one settled. I think you'd agree. That was a big one. And they were going at it, they were shooting airplanes out of the sky. 5 or 6 planes got shot down in their last little skirmish, and then it was going to escalate from there, and it could have gotten to be very, very bad. No, I want to save a lot of lives. I love saving lives. That's what it's about. And when you save lives, you really end up having a peaceful world. Usually that ends up pretty well. I want to thank everybody, but in particular these 2 great leaders for having the courage to do what they did today, and they're going to go down in the history books, and it's a great honor to be involved. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tom. Keep going. We worked hard. We worked hard. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, we worked hard. It's a very important act, the Genius Act. They named it after me, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you. This is a hell of an act. I did something very unusual. I said, this has been something, a lot of people thought it was impossible, some of the things that have been done. And of course, the great big, I added the word great, the great big beautiful bill, that was something that nobody thought possible. They thought it would be in anywhere from 7 to maybe 3, I'll go the opposite direction, but 3 to 7 different bills. And we said, let's just put it in one, because this way there's something for everyone. And there really is, there's a lot of things for everyone. And when we get the word out how great that is for every single person in this country virtually, and all they have is a soundbite, death. Their soundbite is death. Aren't they nice? They are the most incompetent people. They've lost their confidence. They've lost everything if you think about it. But Jasmine Crockett is on her way. She's on her way. She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble. But I have to tell you, that was great, and this was great. And I am so tired of making phone calls at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, getting calls from our great speaker. Sir, we have 12 hard no's. I say, Mike, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We have 12 hard no's. The good news is I call up, hello, Jim, how are you? Sir, you have my vote. Boom. Sir, you have my vote. They just want a little love. Unfortunately, it's always the same 12 people. It's 5 senators and it's 12 congressmen. And I actually said to John Thune and I said to Mike, I said, listen, I want to have a party, but not to those people that I have to speak to endlessly every time. And they're wonderful because they always seem to come through other than a couple. Rand Paul Jr. from Congress and Rand Paul from, other than a few people. But I said, I want to have them over. We're going to have a party for everybody in Congress, everyone in Congress except 12. We're going to have, and Mike is, Tom, I'll tell you what, Tom is definitely coming. The whole group, where are those 12 people? They're the only people I don't see. We could do it today. We don't have to vote. And I would say of the 53 senators, 48, we have 48 in here. You won't even have to come to that one. But these are the greatest people because they always vote yes, and we don't have to go crazy. You trust us, we trust you. And it's been a very special group of people. We really do. I mean, 96% phenomenal and 4% extremely difficult. Do you agree with that? But they get there, most of them, not all of them. Those are the ones we really don't like. But I want to thank you all for being here. This is really a big day. This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act into law. So congratulations to everybody. This is a big deal. They've come a long way since the Biden administration, when they had no idea what you were all talking about. And half of you were under arrest for no reason whatsoever. True, for no reason. And we want to have it, not China. China wasn't actually, they were watching this, they like it. And we've got this, we've got AI, we've got a lot of great ones happening. And this is a very big thing. And I want to thank the bill's author, Senator Bill Hagerty, a very good friend of mine. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a very handsome guy. Looks great. He's got the whole package. But you know, I got to know him. He was ambassador to Japan, and we had a little problem with Japan on trade. But he was my ambassador to Japan, and I went to Japan, and he is speaking fluently Japanese. I said, "Did you learn it as a child?" No, I just learned it over the last 4 or 5 months. I said, "You learned Japanese? Maybe the single hardest language to learn. It's actually breathing rather than, it's breathing." I'm not going to imitate it because we'll end up with a big story and I don't want that. But he spoke totally fluent Japanese. I said, "That's very impressive." And he was introducing me to Mr. Honda. I said, "Oh, are you in the car business?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "You're a very rich man." And then he said, "Mr. Toyota, right? Toyota." Then I said, "What business are you in?" Let me guess. He said, "Cars." He was my interpreter, and I was so impressed. And I was getting ready to leave. He said, "Sir, I'd like to run for the United States Senate." I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Tennessee." I said, "Well, I love Tennessee, but do they know you there?" "No, but if you endorse me, I'll win, right?" And I endorsed him, and he took a 48-point lead. And they didn't know who the hell he was. And he's turned out to be a great senator. And now they all know who you are. Yeah, so you're fantastic, and we thank you. And just the fact that you're doing this and you understand this is a complicated world, and you understand it, Bill. So you've been great. Thank you very much. We're also pleased to be joined by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance. J.D., thank you very much. Good job. And he's been up speaking late at night on the phone. I said, "JD, how about you take 3 or 4 of these people, please? Because 3 or 4 I cannot speak to. I just can't." And he'd take them and he'd come through, right, JD? Also, Speaker Mike Johnson. He is unbelievable. He's an unbelievable. I mean, if you go by what we're doing, if you keep at this pace, you can't keep it up for another 200 days, but I will tell you this, if you keep up this pace for another week, you go down as the greatest speaker in the House in history. So, one more week. One more week. Who needs Tip O'Neill? Who needs Tip O'Neill? He's better looking than Tip O'Neill, too. But, no, he's been going at a fervent pace. Would you say that's right? Your wife probably says, "You are crazy." You've been aging beautifully in front. He's an amazing speaker, a great leader, and everybody likes him and respects him, and that's why we're with a very small majority, like 3. We had a time when we were 1. Remember? We said we're 1 heart attack away from losing the House. Then we won a couple of seats and a couple of other. Now we have 7, maybe if we're lucky, 7. But we win with, nobody's ever done. I don't think anyone's ever done this before, to win with those small. We had a little help from Tom too, right? And a lot of other people. I want to introduce also Secretary Howard Lutnick, who's been fantastic. You have done a great job, Howard. We've got trade deals coming out of our ears, right? We got so many trade deals, they're all calling so many, and I really mean this too. It's like, how do you deal with so many? But, I always say when we send out the paper, that was a deal. They don't want the fake news doesn't want to hear that. When I send out the paper that you're paying 35 or 40% tariff, that's a deal. Then they'll call and see if they can make a little bit different kind of a deal, like opening up their country to trade. In some cases, they've never been open, but we're doing well, and we have a couple of big ones to announce pretty soon, right? Could almost do it today. Maybe we'll say it. Maybe later on we'll do it. Senator Bernie Moreno, a great victory. Bernie had great victory. A great victory. That was one of the truly tough races. A lot of people weren't sure anybody could win that seat, and you won it in easy fashion, right? We won it together when you think of it. But you won it in easy fashion. You did a great job. Great guy. House Majority Whip. This is a great leader, Tom Emmer, a great politician and leader. Really good. And I like his wife even better. His wife is, she's the boss, but you are married to a fantastic woman, huh? And he knows that, and he likes hearing it, because some people don't, they say, sir, could you please stop saying that my wife is better than me, sir? Those are guys that don't usually end up with a good marriage, He's got a great marriage. So thank you, Tom. You really are a fantastic leader and representative. And Representatives Troy Downing, French Hill, where's French Hill? Where is French? You have been so great. Thank you, French. I spoke to him a little late when he was walking down the hall and said, French. He said, I'm there, sir. You are great guy. Everyone respects your French. You know that. Bill Heisinger. Bill, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good job. Dan Muser, I thought he was going to become the next governor of Pennsylvania, but he likes Congress better, I guess, huh? So, but I think you're terrific, and, I would have always been behind you, that I can tell you. Tim Moore. Tim, thank you, Tim. John Rose. John? Hi, John, thanks. Good job. Brian Stile. Brian Stile, still young? Still nice and young, that's good. G.T. Thompson, G.T. Thank you. Andy Barr, good friend of all of ours. Thank you, Andy. Monica De La Cruz. Monica, she's here someplace. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica. Mike Haradopoulos. Mike, thank you, Mike. Look good. Mike Lawler, Mr. Salt. Well, it should guarantee your district. I mean, you worked hard for New York, right? And you're on television, I'm on television, so this should be good for a couple of points. But without you and your couple of friends from New York, that wouldn't have happened. That was not easy, right? Congratulations, great job. Anna Paulina Luna. Anna was so great. I don't, even if she's here or not here, I want to tell you that she has been so great and worked so hard to make sure we got it approved. Ralph Norman. Ralph? Ralph? What happened to Ralph? Nick Begich. Nick, thank you, Nick. Good job. Good job. Good votes. I just saw a great poll on you, huh? Very good. Congratulations, Nick. Andy Ogles. Andy, who's a terrific friend. Beth Van Dyne. Beth, thank you, Beth. Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much for the great support. Roger Williams, a great baseball player, who also had to take a bullet, unfortunately, but he is a great guy. He was involved in that whole catastrophe, but he's fantastic and has been from day one, along with a lot of other people that I won't call out because I have no idea where the hell you are. I think I saw Jason here somewhere. Where's Jason? Oh, it's lucky I called him. Ooh, it's lucky. They didn't put your name because I invited you at the last moment, right? He was over there doing some business in the White House. But you've been incredible in your position. Nobody knows more about taxes and finance than you do, so we appreciate it, right? Is that true, Howard? It's true. Thanks, Jason. Great job. And you'll help out with that other matter. You make him so strong and powerful, right? Along with Deputy Secretary of Treasury, Michael Faulkender. Where's Michael? Good, Michael, how are you? Good. You'll help out over there, okay? And Ambassador Ken Howry. Ambassador, thank you, Ken. Great job, Ken. I also want to recognize some of the countless industry leaders here today, including Brian Armstrong of Coinbase. You've done a good job, Brian. That's a big deal. Dave Ripley of Kraken. Thank you, Dave. Jeremy Allaire of Circle. This is a big day. Good job. Good job, Jeremy. Paolo Ardino of Tether. Paolo, thank you, Paolo. Ryan McInerney of Visa. That's a good company. Thank you. Chris Pavlovsky of Rumble. Chris, what happened to your location, Chris? You're always a front row guy. You're just being nice today, I think. How's Rumble doing? Good? Good. If Rumble's doing good, that means Truth is doing good. Truth. That's good. You're doing a great job. Thank you, Chris, very much. Vlad Tenev of Robinhood. Vlad, thank you, Vlad. Thank you, Vlad. Good. Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. These are two smart, handsome guys. They got the whole package. They're of Gemini, but they have the whole pack. They're of a lot of things, actually, but Gemini's just the one for today, right? They've got the look, they've got the genius, got plenty of cash, and it's great that you're on our side. You guys are great. I can never tell them apart, but their mother can. I asked, can your mother tell you apart? And the answer is yes. Easily, or is it tough for her? Easy, I figured. You guys have been great. Thank you very much. Great to be with you. Let me say the entire crypto community, for years, you were mocked and dismissed and counted out. You were counted out as little as a year and a half ago. But this signing is a massive validation. And even before this signing, over the last year and a half, I think your stuff has gone up more than any stock, or just about more. A couple of stocks that were pretty good, I will say. But you have certainly, as an industry, gone up more than anybody. Nobody's gained the respect in such a short period of time. But this signing is a massive validation of your hard work and your pioneering spirit and your ability to never give up. Because a lot of people would have given up 2-3 years ago. So I want to thank you for contributing to the incredible strength of America. This is going to make it stronger, and congratulations on this incredible achievement. You've made our dollar look really good and strong and powerful. It's good for the dollar and it's good for the country. And that's why I backed you at an early stage. And I also did it for the votes, because you did come out and vote, I will say. And they changed tune, you know, Biden's team, they changed tune right in the middle of the campaign. All of a sudden, they loved you guys. They dropped all charges. They did have, I got you guys out of so much trouble. And you know what? I don't think anybody voted for them, right? Because you remember they treated you very unfairly, actually. So it's a great honor that we were involved. And it was a tremendous amount of support that we got at the polls. We won, think of it, we won every swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won the popular vote. We won the districts by 2,750. Think of that, to 505. Different districts too, by the way. Every once in a while that number can change, but it doesn't change by much. The map was almost totally red, and you guys were with us right from the beginning. Exactly 1 year ago this month, many of you were with me in Nashville, Tennessee. Do you remember that day, right? That was a big day in Nashville, Tennessee, when I became the first presidential candidate ever to address the Bitcoin conference. And at this time, and at that time, crypto builders and founders were under relentless assault by the Biden administration, which was trying to crush your industry and crush you as people and go after your families. And they were a vicious group of people. You know, people don't realize it. They were vicious, incompetent, but vicious. Well, Joe was an incompetent guy, but he was always known as a vicious guy. I guess if you're going to be in that, you're probably off, if they're incompetent is better, right? Because you don't want to have a vicious guy that's competent. If you did, I wouldn't be standing here today. Huh? But I pledged that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. And under the Trump administration, this is only going further. You're going to do really well. I mean, I'm so proud of what you've done in the last couple of years, and very important. On day one, I remember I did this, and I said this, and I mentioned this name, and I got the greatest applause of the whole campaign. We fired Joe Biden's SEC chair, Gary Gensler. We fired him. But I remember I was making a speech, and it was just a line in the speech. Then I said, and I will fire Gary Gensler. The place exploded. I said, I finished that one, and I said, what the hell did that guy do? There was a lot of hatred there, I'll tell you. And it turned out, as I got familiar with everything, it turned out you were absolutely right. In his place, I appointed a visionary chairman who wants America to build the future and not block the future. He's going to be unbelievable. He'll go down as one of the greats. And Paul Atkins, where are you, Paul Atkins? And Paul, the crypto guys, they said, everybody said, not only crypto, every industry, they all wanted Paul for the position. And he's a tough cookie, too. He's just, they actually said, we don't care. We just think he's fair. All they wanted was fairness. And they have somebody that you're really a champion of the street and you're a champion of the country. You're going to do a fantastic job. I saw you interviewed the other night. I watched it about 2 o'clock in the morning. There was a little thing called C-SPAN, which I don't know how many people were watching. Don't worry, you were in prime time too, but they happen to have a little rerun. I don't want to embarrass you, but a fantastic job, really. You are absolutely so perfect for the job. Congratulations, Paul. And Paul is here today among the commissioners, various commissioners, including Hester Pierce and Mark Yoida. Hester and Mark Yoida. Thank you, Hester. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mark, wherever you may be. Is Mark here? Oh, stand up, Mark. I didn't. Good. Thank you. Good job. Good. I'm glad I gave you a second crack. You didn't hear because of the thunderous applause for Hester. But thank you. I heard tremendous things about both of you. Thank you very much. My first week in office, I also established the first ever presidential working group on digital assets, and we have an executive director. Where's Bo Hines? Bo Hines. Hi, Bo. And Bo is a great football player, right? Bo is a great football player, one of the better players in college football. So I know you from that also. See, who would think that I know that? I know a lot of things, Bo, but he was a champion player. I stopped the weaponization of government against crypto and Bitcoin, and we ended the lawless operation Choke Point 2.0. That was a bad operation. And I kept my promises to the community and granted a full presidential pardon to Ross Ulbricht. Ross Ulbricht. And you have no idea how important that name became. It was like a symbol, and his mother was unbelievable. His mother was an unbelievable woman. But it was so important to a certain group of people. And in a truly momentous act last March, I signed an executive order establishing the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, as well as the United States Digital Asset Stockpile. And that's all signed up. And with today's signing, we're pushing even further into the exciting new frontier. Just as I promised last year, the Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins. This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes? If you say yes, I'm saying yes. I think it's great that you're involved, I will tell you. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology. Who would have thought we would have been saying that 2 years after I really met you for the first time? The Genius Act provides banks, businesses, and financial institutions a framework for issuing crypto assets backed one for one with real US dollars, treasury bills, and other cash equivalents. It's really strengthening the dollar and giving the dollar great prominence. And you know, you have this little group called BRICS. It's fading out fast, but BRICS is, they wanted to try and take over the dollar, the dominance of the dollar, and the standard of the dollar. And I said, anybody that's in the BRICS consortium of nations, we're going to tariff you 10%. And they had a meeting the following day, and almost nobody showed up. They said, leave me alone. We didn't want to, they didn't want to be tariffed if they are. So it's amazing. No, we're not going to let the dollar slide. If we have a smart president, you're never going to let the dollar slide. If you have a dummy, that could happen. Like the last one, he would, if you ever asked him about the dollar sliding, he would have no idea. But we can't let that ever happen again. Consumers, vendors, and people all over the world will then be able to use those stable coins for ultra-low-cost transactions that are cleared and settled in a matter of seconds rather than weeks and months. And it's really an amazing thing. And with the privacy, flexibility, and decentralization of cash, this revolution has the potential to supercharge American economic growth and empower billions of people to save and transfer in U.S. dollars. It's really all backed by the dollars. It's really a great thing. And a lot of, you know, we had a lot of Democrat support. I have to tell you that. I was shocked anytime you get one but we had a tremendous amount of Democrat support, which we appreciate, and which just shows you that you're doing the right thing. This will increase demand for U.S. Treasuries, lower interest rates, and secure the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency for generations to come. The reserve currency is so important. You know, if we lost that, that would be like losing a world war. We can never let anyone play games with us, and that's why when I heard about this group from BRICS, 6 countries basically, I hit them very, very hard. And if they ever really form in a meaningful way, it will end very quickly. I will tell you, for them, they won't be gone very long. I don't think they'll even do it. They're virtually afraid to meet. I also remain fully committed to my pledge never to allow the creation of a central bank digital currency in America. It won't happen. My first. Thank you. And the other night, I will say, with some of the congressmen and women, they wanted that so badly. That was so important to them. You know, I was impressed that they knew what the hell it was, to be honest with you. Please, sir, please, the central bank digital currency, well, you have to make sure, sir. And I'm saying, what do you know about that? It's amazing the knowledge that people have gained all of a sudden. We have a lot of problems with some of them. I said, we've already got it from the Fed, right? From Commerce and from an executive order. You don't need it a fourth time. Sir, we have to get it. It's amazing. But they knew their subject, though, didn't they, huh? And we helped them out. My first week in office, I signed an executive order to ban the creation of a CBDC in the United States, and very soon I look forward to signing legislation that will codify and ban make it a permanent law, put it in permanence. I'm also committed to signing landmark crypto market structure legislation this year to grow the industry. We're going to be growing it even more than people ever thought. It's a really hot industry. And for a little while, 2 nights ago, we were a little concerned because we were a little short on votes. Like, I would say maybe we were about 9 short. 9 short at 3 in the morning. We were about 4 short at 3:30 in the morning. And we were in good shape at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? But the people, and few people have fought harder for the bill than we're signing than some of the people here today. You have been unbelievable. It's our White House AI and crypto czar David Sachs, who's done such a great job. And he has a show now, become a showman, but a couple of years ago, right, it's probably 2 years ago now in San Francisco, and I did his show, and I heard he's a very smart guy, and we had a great show. You've kept it going a lot longer, and you got, is that still your highest rated ever show? Oh, he knows what to say. He knows what. He had a rating that he had millions and millions of people. I said, what's going on? But we had a great show. And I said, you know, that guy's really smart. I said, if I get elected, I was running at that time, if I get elected, we're gonna bring him into government in some ways. He's worth a fortune. He's made a lot of money. He's a very rich billionaire. But this is more important, doesn't it? This is, me too, you know, it's like, doesn't matter. This is much, I know Howard and I talk about it all the time. Howard can go back to his wonderful brokerage firm, hire 1 or 2 people, and it's not the same as what you're doing, right? We're doing the biggest deals in the world. Actually, the deal we're doing now in tariffs is the biggest, when you add it up, the biggest deal ever made in history. It could be 1,000 IBMs. I mean, if you think of it, it's the biggest deal ever done. So it's hard to go back to a brokerage firm and, you know, make $79,000 commission on the sale of a stock, right? It's true. But I want to ask David. So David's been fantastic. He's done an incredible job. And I'd like to ask David to come up and say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you, President Trump. It's a great honor to be here, and it's true that I never expected to work in government at all, and then everything changed after President Trump came on my podcast, and I accepted this job as crypto czar because I thought it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for a president who really wants to get things done for the American people, and if anything, that's been an understatement. The first 6 months of this administration have been more successful than any administration in American history. What's been done? It's just been incredible. President Trump has worked at tech speed. We're used to working fast in Silicon Valley, but even this is fast for us in Silicon Valley, the speed at which you move, President Trump. It's really incredible. And now today, you have another historic legislative achievement that is a monumental step to fulfilling your promise to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally, by creating a digital dollar that people all over the world can use. And for every digital dollar in a crypto wallet, there'll be a traditional dollar in a U.S. bank account, which will create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. treasuries. So that is the power of this bill, as U.S. dollar dominance. This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump. And there's just a few other people I'd like to thank. First, my family for being here. Thank you. And Bo Hines, who President Trump mentions, the director of our crypto council, he really did the heavy lifting here. So Bo, I just want to thank you again. And my chief of staff, Tracy Johnson, as well, who also does the heavy lifting. And Bill Haggerty and French Hill and all the congressmen and senators who have already been mentioned by President Trump, so I'll save the time, but it's really been an honor to work with all of you. This was really a team effort, but most of all, I want to thank President Trump for accomplishing what nobody thought was possible. And it's true that just earlier this week, the media was reporting that this bill was dead. This bill was dead. And then the media didn't know one thing, that we had a secret weapon. We have a deal maker in chief. And thanks to President Trump, he stepped in and saved this bill. And it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, and your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump.
Is that Laura? Please come. Just come here. This is our superstar. She was the head of the Republican Party, and nobody complained about anything. We went on to great. This is Laura Trump, married to a young gentleman named Eric. They have beautiful 2 children, but she has been so good. She stepped into that position like it was nothing that we wanted. She said, Dad, I'd like to go home right now to my beautiful husband and my son and daughterette, but you did a fantastic job, and you worked with a great gentleman too. He's doing a fantastic job. But I just want to thank you. I just saw you standing back there. I wanted to bring her in. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you. So, under the Trump administration, I just got back from Saudi Arabia, and we went to Qatar. We went to a number of countries, and I will tell you the level of respect that this country has now is incredible. The UAE, I tell you what, we had a time there, but every leader said the same thing. They said 1 year ago, your country was dead. And they'd say it that way. It was like, I didn't know whether I was supposed to be happy or insulted, but the truth is we were in deep trouble. But they said 1 year ago, your country was dead. And today you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And it's true. We have the hottest country in the world. We had a country, we were a laughing stock with the borders, people pouring in. Can you imagine last month, in the month of June, actually, 0. Now, I don't even believe that, 0, because you have hundreds of thousands pouring in, and then all of a sudden it's 0. But they have it down as 0. And very liberal people take that particular toll. It's a liberal group, so they're not giving us any favors. They had 0 people coming through our border. Can you imagine that? From literally hundreds of thousands and millions pouring in from all over the world. They came from all over the world. They came from prisons, jails. They came from mental institutions, gang members. There were gangs. They came from all over the place, from every country. They came from the Congo in Africa, a lot from the Congo. They came from South America. A lot came from Venezuela. They emptied their jails into our country. Can you imagine? They allowed that, emptied their jails into our country, and they let them walk right into our country like perfect. 11,888 committed murder. 50% committed more than one person. They murdered more than one person. 50% of 11,888. And we had murderers, and we're getting them out, and Tom Holman and Christie are doing a great job. That Tom Holman, I'll tell you, he's Central Casting Award. And he takes abuse, but they just keep fighting, and they're winning, and we're winning in the courts, so we're winning everywhere. But we've got the hottest country in the world, and you're a big part of it. So the golden age of America is upon us, and with today's signing, the future of crypto and the crypto industry, the U.S. dollar working together, because they really are hand in hand, is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. And I just want to thank everybody, some tremendous people in this room. And maybe when I sign, I'll ask some of our great senators and congressmen to come on up. Some of the top crypto guys, please come on up, because you guys work very hard on this. And we'll sign this, and we'll get on to the next battle, and we'll win. But we're winning all over the world right now. It's not even close. Not even close, so we're going to keep it going. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you. This is not an auto pen, by the way, which is a big scandal. If that were a Republican, it would really be a big scandal. But it is one of the great scandals of our time. Thank you very much, everybody.
President of the United States.
Strong, yes, strong, and they're great. These are great people. And thank you very much. This is a very important day to me because we're bringing back an industry that was abandoned, despite the fact that it was just about the best, certainly the best in terms of power, real power. And I'm very honored to be doing this. Other countries went to beautiful clean coal and they've stayed there for many years, like China. China's opening 2 plants every week. Germany went green, very green. They went so green they almost went out of business. Germany was finished. They went to wind. The wind wasn't blowing too much. And they went to all sorts of other things. You know, the Green New Scam hit Germany too. And guess what? Now they're back to coal. They're opening up coal plants all over Germany. We're the ones that aren't doing it. I call it beautiful clean coal. I told my people never use the word coal unless you put beautiful clean before it. Right, Doc? So we call it beautiful clean coal. Beautiful clean coal. So today, thank you. Today we're taking historic action to help American workers, miners, families, and consumers. We're ending Joe Biden's war on beautiful clean coal once and for all, and it wasn't just Biden, it was Obama, and there were others, but we're doing the exact opposite. And all those plants that have been closed are going to be opened. If they're modern enough, or they'll be ripped down and brand new ones will be built. And we're going to put the miners back to work, and I said I was going to do this, and I've said it loud and clear. And it's time to do it, that we need it. And I look at these people behind me. I don't want to have any arm wrestling contests with any of them, but they've had a little more practice with the lifting things, I will say. But they are great people, and I know them indirectly for a long, that includes you guys, for a long time. And they're great people, and with great families, and come from areas of the country that we love and we really respect. And I want to thank Secretary Doug Burgum for doing such an incredible job. From the day I met him, I knew I wanted to have him in my cabinet. He took a shot at running, and he was so good and so solid that he made no news, and that was good. But I saw him, and I saw his beautiful wife, Catherine, and I said that they're going to be a team. They're a great team, and they're going to be working for this country someday. And one of the first people I called after I won. So thank you very much. And along with the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, and I was going to make Doug actually the Energy Secretary. And he said, sir, you have one person who's much better than me at this, Chris Wright. I said, who the hell is Chris Wright? I have no idea who he is. And then I learned that he's the most respected person in the energy business by far, far and away. For Doug to say that Doug's got a big ego was very tough for him to say that. Catherine was there, right? Catherine, you said, wow, I've never heard that before. But Chris, you guys are fantastic. Stand up, all three of you, please stand up. Yeah, that's a great team. It's no better team than that. And they're gonna produce energy the likes of which nobody's seen before. You know, we need to do the AI, all of this new technology that's coming online. We need more than double the energy, the electricity that we currently have. You take all of the electricity in the country right now for houses, for buildings, for everything. We need to more than double it to be number one. We're now way ahead of everybody at AI. China's in second place, but way behind. And they're going to be producing a lot of energy and a lot of electricity for this. And so are we, and we're going to get approvals very fast. And I would say the man that's almost comparable to you in terms of the importance to this, maybe he's even more comparable. I hate to tell you, a guy named Lee Zeldin, who's a friend of mine for a long time. He was a great Lee was a great lawyer, and he ran for office, and he won immediately. I gave him a very important endorsement. He won for Congress in an area that was unwinnable. He couldn't have, they were all saying, "Was he wasting his time?" That's Democrat territory. And I liked Lee and knew Lee, and he ended up winning a seat in a massive upset. Nobody knew what happened, actually, and then he was there for a long time. How many years were you there? 8 years. It was very popular. Then he almost won the governorship of New York, which is lost by a few points, which was an amazing run. And I said, we got to get you in with us in some form, and we did. Then he's head of the environmental agency, EPA, and doing a great job. And I said, if we have a nuclear power plant, Lee, can you get it approved in less than a month? He said, I'll do it faster. And by the way, he'll do a fast job, but he's going to do also a great job. It's going to be an important job. We don't even smile about it, but you know, I've been involved in the approval process for a long time, having been in real estate. And you go years and years and years for absolutely nothing. And even in those days, I used to say, you know, this whole thing could have been approved in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it would have been just as good. But they take you down the path, and you spend years waiting, and then sometimes you get rejected. I wasn't rejected too much. I was the king of zoning. I did well, but it was such nonsense. It was so terrible. The process was so terrible. But this is the big leagues now, and he's the head person in the whole country, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate you doing it. And already they're respecting you very greatly. So thank you very much, Lee. Great job. So we have a lot of senators and congressmen and women, and I'm going to just introduce the ones that I see here, because you know, it's always a problem when I do this, because I leave one or two out, and that's the end. I never get their vote again. I never get their vote. It takes years to recover, but we'll give it a shot, because Senator John Barrasso, who's my friend and a great gentleman. Thank you very much, John, for being here. Thank you, John. Cynthia Lummis, fantastic woman who believes like I do. She believes like I do in these people, right? She believes in them maybe even more than I do. That's pretty good from day one. Thank you, Cynthia. You're doing a fantastic job. Kevin Kramer, my friend. Where is Kevin? Because Kevin, I didn't think he was here, because he had a problem, and I just will pay my respects. He wanted to be here so badly, but he had a difficult problem that he's working through, and we all love Kevin. John Hovind. John, thank you very much. Thank you. Steve Daines. Thank you, Steve. And Steve is a picker of great candidates, like he picked a guy named Tim Sheehy, who's here. Where's Tim? Where is Tim? Thank you, Tim. And Tim Sheehy has turned out to be a wonderful senator, and that was your pick. And we went with it, and you were right. And we have a great one in Tim, so thank you, Tim, and thank you, Steve. Shelley Moore Capito. Shelley, thank you very much. West Virginia, from West Virginia, she has to like, have no choice. Even if you didn't like it, you have to like all, right? But they were doing a number on you. They were doing a number on you with the coal stuff, and you have not only coal, but you have among the best coal anywhere in the world. So thank you very much. A friend of mine for a long time, I'm the one that got him to change his religion in a sense. He changed the party. He went from a Democrat. I said, Jimmy, you're not a Democrat. But he changed to Republican. He's one of the most popular Republicans and one of the most popular political leaders in the country. Jim Justice. I call him Big Jim. Big Jim Justice. Great. You look good, Jim. And he was in the business, and so am I doing the right thing? You would know better than anybody in this room. Am I doing the right thing, Jim? I think so. Thank you very much, Jim. Cindy Hyde Smith. Cindy, thank you, hon. Very good. Good job. People are going to be happy. And all friends of mine. Mike Lee. Mike, thank you very much. We have a lot of people from Congress, congressmen and women, representatives. Morgan Griffith. Morgan, thank you. Thank you very much. Bruce Westerman. Bruce, thank you, Bruce. Bob Latta. Bob Latta. Thank you, Bob. Good job. Troy Boulderson. Troy, haven't seen you in a long time since that early race. I endorsed him before anyone knew who he was, and he ended up winning. That was another surprise, right? And that was a long time ago. Yep, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much, Troy. Carol Miller. Carol, thank you. Carol, West Virginia. Riley Moore. Riley, hi Riley, thanks. Mike Bost. Mike, thank you very much. Troy Downing. Troy, thank you. Oh, he has something. What is it, coal? Is there coal in that bag? I like it. I'll take it right down. Thank you very much. Hal Rogers. Hal, thank you. Thank you, Hal. Andy Barr. Thank you, Andy. Good luck with everything. I hear good things. Troy Downing. Troy, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Troy. Hal Rogers. Oops. Harriet Hageman. Harriet. How are you, Harriet? We just left Harriet. This is one of the finest attorneys you will ever see. I have seen her in action, and she is brutal. I never want her against me, that I can tell you. Dan Muser. Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Dan. Good job you're doing. Wesley Hunt, my friend, too. Wesley, great. I love your commercial. Pete Stauber. Pete, thank you, Pete. Great hockey player he was, right? Great hockey player. And a great gentleman just broke the record of Wayne Gretzky. The great one is Wayne Gretzky, but we have another great one too, huh? Just broke the record, it was great. Governor Greg Gianforte, correct? Nice seeing you, good. Thank you very much, Greg. Bill Lee, Bill, thank you very much. Patrick Morrissey, West Virginia, just got elected. Mark Gordon, Mark, thank you. Thank you very much. And we have a lot of others, and I'm in trouble because I don't know. I got 5 or 6 others that I see quickly, but I'm just not going to do it. Don't hold it against me, because we have to get back to the most important people in the room, these people. You know that, right? So the energy workers and the coal miners in the area that I'm standing on, and it's a lot of weight in this platform, so I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's structurally designed for you guys. I don't know. But we have just really well-deserving, great American patriots, and it's such an honor to be here and making such a big move, such a bold move in energy. Because, you know, for years, people would just bemoan this industry and decimate the industry for absolutely no reason, because with modern technology and all of the other things that we do, it's one of the great forms of energy. That's why other countries, leading countries, are using it, some exclusively. For 4 long years, Joe Biden and congressional Democrats tried to abolish the American coal industry. They did everything in their power while he was awake, which wasn't much, shutting down dozens of coal plants, banning coal leases on federal lands, and putting thousands and thousands of coal miners out of work, destroying their lives, actually, destroying their lives. I'll never forget when I went to West Virginia, which I won by 48 points, I think, right? Big Jim, I won by 48 points. But in the first campaign where Hillary Clinton was about 4 states too early, and she was talking about how bad coal was and how they were going to teach coal miners how to make widgets and gadgets and technology, which they didn't want to do. They want to mine. One thing I learned about the coal miners, that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse on Fifth Avenue and a different kind of a job, and they'd be unhappy. They want to mine coal. That's what they love to do. And she was going to put them in a high-tech industry where you make little cell phones, I think. I don't know. Do you think you'd be good at that? I don't know. You don't want to be. And she was brutal about 3 weeks before, but then she had a problem. She went to West Virginia looking for votes, and that was a bad situation. You remember that? And there was a coal miner around the table with his family, and he was in tears because of what they had done to him and his family. And I hope he's still around, but that man made quite an impression on the world and the public. And we ended up winning in a great election, but we ended up winning by a lot. The Democrats' Green New Scam killed jobs and sent prices soaring here in America, but meanwhile, China opened 2 coal plants every single week, and other countries likewise went very strongly back into coal. Some of them never got off. Those are the ones that didn't have the problems. The Biden energy policy was to put America last. We want to be last. We got to be last. Not a good policy. Under my administration, we're putting America first. It's very simple. America's always going to be first. On my first day in office, I terminated the Green New Scam. I declared the national energy emergency and withdrew from the unfair, one-sided, and extremely costly to the United States only Paris Climate Accord. You know, under the Paris Climate Accord, we had a terrible situation. We would have paid over $1 trillion. Think of it, over $1 trillion. And Russia was paying almost nothing. Russia had a 1992 standard. China was paying nothing. China didn't kick in until 2035. This was 5 years ago. So they didn't kick in for many years. India had no standard whatsoever. But we had the highest standard you could imagine. We had to start paying from day one, and we had to pay lots of money. We paid for everything. So I was not a big fan of the Paris Accord, and I let it be known, and I got out of it early. Then they went back into it, and now we get back out of it. And hopefully we could be there for a long time, okay? A long time, because it was a scam to take money away from the United States and actually hurt us very badly with coal and with other things. Now, under the executive order that I will sign in a few moments, we're slashing unnecessary regulations that targeted the beautiful clean coal. We will rapidly expedite leases for coal mining on federal lands, and these 2 gentlemen are going to do a real job of it. You've already started. And we'll streamline permitting. We will end the government bias against coal, and we're going to unlock the sweeping authorities of Defense Production Act, the Defense Production Act, to turbocharge coal mining in America. They made it impossible. I know a friend of mine has a plant. He said, you know, it's a shame. I'm ripping it down and I'm replacing it with another form of energy. I won't tell you because it's also very good, but it's not as powerful as this. He said, you know, the plant I'm building, the new plant, is literally half as good. It's no less, you know, it's not probably even as good environmentally, but he said it produced half the power for more money, much more money. It'll never compete with that beautiful plant I have down the road, which was really a modernized coal plant. Well, he'll be happy to know that he can open that plant up very quickly and it's going to produce a lot. But he was complaining. He said, this is so much better. He wasn't doing that as politicking me. He was doing that because That's what he felt. And he knew every form of energy. We talked about that. He knew every form of energy. But our government is going to do something that's very different. And I don't think even you two know about this. This was my idea from about 15 minutes before I got up here. We're going to guarantee that we have a strong business for many years to come, that your coal companies and your miners don't get all excited about their jobs, and then should a radical left liberal become president, they end the business right away, and somebody's built a plant and spent hundreds of millions of dollars in building a plant, and the plant is going to be closed because a Democrat got in, or a liberal got in. They're opposed to coal, and the Republicans are very much for it, clean coal. And we're going to give a guarantee that the business will not be terminated by the ups and downs of the world of politics. So should somebody come in to this very important office and say, oh, well, you spent hundreds of millions of dollars and you guys have given up your life because you want to be in coal, and then all of a sudden you don't have a life anymore because it's what you know the best, that's not going to happen. We're going to give a guarantee that it's not going to happen, so that if somebody comes in, they cannot change it at a whim. They cannot just going to go, they're going to have to go through hell to close you up. All right, so that's pretty good. We're going to give that in the form of a guarantee that we're writing on right now structurally and from a legal standpoint. So your investments are going to also be protected. And you're going to have no reason to be concerned about your future, your life, or your investment if you're a miner, as this great governor was a miner. Actually, he was one of the larger coal miners. He could fit up here very easily, you know, Big Jim. But he was a great success. But they were very, very tough on him, and he did a beautiful job with a beautiful product. Already under our leadership, the Department of Interior has approved the expansion of the Spring Creek mine in Montana, supporting 280 coal mining jobs and unlocking over 40 million tons of coal. And there's more to come. Spring Creek, big one. And there's more to come in the states of Wyoming, Alabama, Utah, North Dakota, and many others. West Virginia, I can't believe they didn't put West Virginia down. It's lucky I mentioned that, right? Can you imagine if I didn't mention West Virginia? I would have been in big trouble. They didn't mark it down here. It's good to have a president like that can pick that up, right? You think Joe Biden would have picked that up? I don't think so. Gee, they didn't mention West Virginia. I don't think so. I don't think he'd be standing up here either. The value of untapped coal in our country is 100 times greater than the value of all the gold at Fort Knox. And we're going to unleash it and make America rich and powerful again. Under this order, I'm also directing Secretary Wright to use billions of dollars in federal funding to invest in the next generation of coal technology, which is an amazing technology in terms of getting the full potential of coal and also doing it in a very clean, environmental way. Pound for pound, coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy there is on Earth today. It's a big step. You never hear those statements, you know. You've never heard that before from a politician, have you? Well, maybe from that politician, but not too many. But that's the way it is. I say it again. Pound for pound, coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy. It's cheap, incredibly efficient, high density, and it's almost indestructible. You could drop a bomb on it, and it's going to be there for you to use the next day, which you can't say with any other form of energy. Virtually indestructible. Most importantly, we have more of it here in America than anywhere else on Earth. We have more coal than any other country. You go to Australia, they have fantastic amounts of coal. You know who they sell it to? China. They sell it to China. They're nearby. They sell a lot of it to China. But we have more than anywhere else on Earth. We also have more liquid gold than anywhere on Earth. So we're really an energy behemoth, but we're unleashing that also. That's going to be another part. But I didn't even want to mention that. It's not down here because I didn't want to mention today is about clean, beautiful coal. So I'm going to give this to you. This big guy. So give it to him. For example, we believe it's possible to extract enormous amounts of critical minerals and rare earths, which you know we need for technology and high technology in the process of coal mining, making in America the mineral superpower of the world, actually. In addition, I'm instructing the Department of Justice to identify and fight every single unconstitutional state or local regulation that's putting our coal miners out of business. And we are withdrawing all of those objections from our government today. It's all being withdrawn. So all of you people that have been fighting for your lives, we are withdrawing all of that today. We have excellent lawyers, excellent. Have you noticed that lots of law firms have been signing up with Trump? $100 million, another $100 million for damages that they've done. But they give you $100 million and that they announced that, but we have done nothing wrong, and I agree, they've done nothing wrong. Well, what the hell? They give me a lot of money considering they've done nothing wrong. And we'll use some of those people, some of those great firms. They are great firms. They just had a bad moment. But we're going to use some of those firms to work with you on your leasing and your other things, and they'll do a great job. I think they're going to do a fantastic job. And for those of you that want to know the tariffs, you've been hearing about tariffs, we're taking in almost $2 billion a day in tariffs. $2 billion a day. And we're doing very well. And we're doing very well in making, I call them tailored deals, not off the rack. These are tailored, highly tailored deals. Right now, Japan is flying here to make a deal. South Korea is flying here to make a deal, and others are flying here. I mean, my only problem is I'm not sure I have enough. We're going to have to use those great law firms, I think, to help us with that. But we're going to probably do that, actually. We're going to use them, and we're getting them for the right price because we need a lot of talent. We have a lot of countries coming in that want to make deals. If I told them about making those deals 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, they'd be laughing at us. Now they're all signing up, Mike, you know that. So it's going to be a great thing, but we're think of that, $2 billion a day, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money even in the coal business, isn't it, huh? It's a lot of money. And America's going to be very rich again very soon. You're going to see that happening. You see it all along. And it's, so that whole situation, it was somewhat explosive, but if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be talking the way we're talking right now. It's been amazing what's happened. Sometimes you have to mix it up a little bit, but we've had great consideration. We've had talks with many countries, over 70. They all want to come in. Our problem is, can't see that many that fast. But we don't have to because, as you know, the tariffs are on and the money is flowing in. Before. And it's going to be great for us. It's going to be great for other countries. We've been ripped off and abused by countries for many years with the tariff situation. They've used tariffs against us. And we didn't use tariffs against them or in any way. I mean, we just didn't use them with any monumental proportion. And so we are doing it now. We have tariffs on cars. We have tariffs on lumber, tariffs on steel and aluminum. Steel plants are going up because of it all over the country, with 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. And I think the steel workers like me even more than the coal miners like me. I'm pretty sure that that's true. We have, instead of having no steel business, I put them on originally my first term. We wouldn't have had one steel mill in the United States if I didn't do that. And now we upped it, and we not only are we taking in a lot of money, but we're protecting our workers, our steel workers. We're protecting our steel industry. And one thing you know, that steel and things like steel you need, because you need it from a defense standpoint. You need steel for your tanks and your planes and your everything. And certain industries you can get away with not having, but others you need, and steel is one you need. So I want to let you know that's in full force and effect. And literally as we speak, I spoke to executives in the steel industry over the last few days, and they're all coming in to build plants in the United States of America, because if you build them in the United States, you have no tariffs to pay. There are no tariffs to pay, zero. If you build them outside using outside labor and hurting our businesses, and you send your product in, you have to pay a price for that, and they will be having tariffs, as you know. It's an amazing thing. This has been something used against us for many years by other countries, and China in particular, but others, not just China, others, and taken advantage of us, ripped us off, and left us for dead, frankly. And I believe if I didn't become your president, I believe that this country would have had problems like they've never had before, because it was serious damage in so many other ways. Not only the border, where people came rushing into our country from prisons and jails and mental institutions, murderers, drug dealers, and some vicious criminals. 11,088 murderers came into our country. We have to get them out. We're getting them out. 11,088. Of that number, half committed murder on more than two people. And this is what they allowed into our country with their open border policy of lunacy. And we're taking care of that, just like we're taking care of you today. We're taking care of that. I want to thank Christy Noem and Tom Homan for doing an unbelievable job. The whole thing is, what the job they're doing is incredible. It's really an unforced error. It should have never happened, that we have to be spending such time and resources, Mr. Senator, right, on getting people out of our country that shouldn't be here. I mean, literally from mental institutions, insane asylums were opened up and emptied into our country. Prisons from all over the world, not just South America, prisons from, think of this, from Africa, the Congo, a lot of people from the Congo, prisons in the Congo, prisons from Asia, from all over, were opened up. And I knew that when I heard it was an open border policy. I said, if you do that, every country is going to be dumping people that they don't want into our country. And that's what's happened, but we're cleaning it out. And the courts, we had a good decision, as you know, from the Supreme Court, allowing us to do that. We have judges that didn't want us to do it. We have judges that wanted the very evil gang members from Trendy, Araqua, and MS-13. They didn't want them taken out of the country and put in very powerful prisons. When you look, you've all seen those clips, pretty amazing clips. But I want to thank El Salvador. They've done an incredible job. But we've been fortunately winning those cases. But we have judges that are out of control that say, oh, bring them back, bring them back. We don't want them back. We don't want them back. Can you imagine? You spend all of that time, energy, and money on getting them out, and then you have a judge that sits there, a local judge who sits there, federal judges, sits there and says, no, bring them back. One was brought back, well, they want to bring him back because he wasn't a member of Tren de Araqua. He was a member of MS-13, which is just as bad. So they misidentified him, but it sounds to me like he was a member of MS-13, so they want him brought back because he wasn't treated properly. It's, we've got to be smart. Our country's got to get a lot smarter than it is, but we have to give the people that are empowered to do this kind of work, and it's not pleasant work. We have to give them the option of making our country great again, and that's what they're doing, and I have great respect for those people. And they're doing it out of love. They could get a much easier job. They're doing it out of love for our country. It's so important. Just like I'm doing this with coal today for love for our country. Earlier this afternoon, I signed another executive order to strengthen our electric grid by ensuring that coal-fired power plants are always available to meet surging demand for electricity. Unlike wind and solar, coal plants can run 24 hours a day in rain, sleet, or snow, and you will not be subject to the incredible blackout situation that's taking place in California, where they have blackouts all the time. It's an amazing thing with California. They have blackouts and brownouts at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And all they want to do is keep going the way they're going. And they're doing a very poor job. As you probably heard, I released billions of gallons of water going in from upstate California, from the most northern parts of California. It probably comes in from Canada to a certain extent. Thank you very much, Canada. We appreciate it. And I released it. It was being sent out to the Pacific Ocean. I've been working on Gavin and some of the politicians for years, and they didn't want to do that because they were protecting a smelt, a fish that was perhaps in trouble, but it's not unique to that area. And because of that, you had numbers, you had fires. Nobody's ever seen anything like what happened. Think of what it would have been like if you had fire hydrants that had water in them, if you had sprinkler systems in houses. A lot of these luxury houses where they had beautiful sprinkler systems, there was no water. They had no water to put out the fires. Water is very good for putting out fires, you know, they just didn't learn it. But we now have millions of gallons, billions actually, they say, of gallons of water pouring into California from the Pacific Northwest, I guess they would say, mostly Pacific Northwest, but other parts of the northern sections of California and beyond. And it's a beautiful thing to see. I saw a picture of it this morning. The water's just flowing down there. I said, why didn't they do this? I told them to do it my first term. I said, do it. And I don't know, I think the second term is just more powerful. They do it. When I say do it, they do it, right? And we actually had to do some pretty strong things to get them to open it up. They had, think of this, they had all that water pouring out right into the Pacific. They had a big valve, like a giant valve as big as this room, and they turned the valve. It takes one day to turn it, and they face it toward the Pacific Ocean, and the water, all that was coming down, all millions and millions of gallons coming down, they put it into the Pacific Ocean, which for the Pacific Ocean is like a drop of water. But for California, it would have been unbelievable. So we did it. I'm very proud of the fact that we did it. We did that against a lot of heat and a lot of environmental nonsense. From now on, we'll ensure that our nation's critically needed coal plants, as an example, remain online and fully operational. They're always going to be operational. And again, we're going to have guarantees that government cannot close them down, close you down, and destroy your lives. To that end, I'm also instructing Secretary Wright to save the Choi coal plant in Arizona, big plant, which has been slated for destruction. We're going to keep those coal miners on the job and tell them to just remain calm, because we're going to have that plant opening and burning the clean coal, beautiful clean coal, in a very short period of time. You know all about that, right? That's a big one. As part of our historic deregulatory efforts this afternoon, I'm also granting immediate relief to 47 companies operating 66 coal plants, very big ones all over the country, recusing and making them available for coal production almost in the immediate future, but we're going to be crushing Biden-era environmental restrictions. These are restrictions that made it impossible to do anything having to do, frankly, with energy, even beyond coal. It's really beyond even coal. We have clean air, we have clean water, and now we have clean coal. And at the same time, we're gonna do other things and other forms of technology and also energy, like our country has never really seen before and never been known to do before, because of all sorts of restrictions having to do with the Green New Scam, which, by the way, was devised by somebody that never even studied. You know that they never even studied anything to do with the environment. It's a young congresswoman. She came up with the idea. And based on that, I guess we only have, well, actually, we should have all been gone, because they gave us only a few years left on Earth, right? Right, Greg? We were going to be gone. We're all going to be gone. The environment now, what they have to worry about is the nuclear heat. They don't have to worry about environmental heat. They have to worry about nuclear heat. And if we're smart, we're working on that right now with others having to do with Iran and some other countries. But that's the heat you're going to have to worry about. You don't have to worry about the Air is getting warmer, the ocean will rise 1/4 of an inch within the next 500 to 600 years, giving you a little bit more waterfront property. They say this is gonna, these guys can handle that. The nuclear, we have a bigger problem with, right? So we're gonna make sure that that's safe. We're gonna make sure that that's safe. With us today are some of the amazing workers who will benefit from these policies, the policies that we're doing and so proud of doing, including Jeff Crow, a miner from West Virginia. Jeff, would you come up and say a few words? Jeff? Come on up, Jeff.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I want to first thank you for having me and my fellow miners here. It is an honor and a privilege to be a part of today's events. I believe this past November that America clearly spoke about what we wanted for our country. It is reassuring for Americans to have a president in office who will truly put the United States of America above all else. With putting America first, you have spoken numerous times about energy independence. I believe most don't understand the importance of that. Coal is one of the major factors in energy independence and accounts for a large portion of America's energy. Coal is one of the most reliable and cheapest forms of electricity. For too long, coal has been a dirty word that most are afraid to speak about. Most of those that would speak negatively about coal do so from an uneducated standpoint. Many are unaware of the engineering and technology that are used in today's mining to create a clean, energy-efficient product. All of this is done while using the safest practices in the industry. Speaking for West Virginia, coal provides approximately 50,000 jobs for those that work in the mines and the businesses that support them. It also accounts for over 50% of West Virginia's export product. To name a few, we employ engineers, teachers, physical therapists, accountants, truck drivers, high school and college graduates. All of these occupations and graduates have turned to the coal industry to provide a better way of life for them and their families. Everyone in our industry works long hours and days to provide a reliable energy product, and too many times it goes unnoticed. I've personally worked in the industry for 23 years. I choose to do this daily to provide my wife and children with the life that they deserve. Prior administrations have done all they could to eliminate the coal industry. Sorry, 1 second, I'm getting there. In my opinion, they have done so with an unethical and uneducated approach. But we are still strong, we are still here, and we are still needed in order to make America great again. Having a president and an administration that understands the need and importance of coal is more than appreciated. It gives the industry a form of reassurance to know that we have a president in place that supports us. For my family, to the over 3,000 employees of ACNR, and for the coal companies, miners, and businesses throughout our great country that rely on the coal industry, we say thank you for your continued support. I personally thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. You did a good job. Let me have that speech. I want to have that. I had a couple of good lines in there when I came out. Now, actually, what I want to do, I'm going to sign it for you because I think, I mean, he worked hard. Look at it. Look how good his eyes must be to read that. And hopefully you can sell it tonight for a lot of money. That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jeff. And also with us is Tony Campbell of the East Kentucky Power Cooperative. And Tony's quite a gentleman and very respected in the industry. Come on up, Tony. Thank you.
Mr. President, on behalf of East Kentucky Power Cooperative, the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association, and electric cooperatives across this America, thank you for your leadership to restore American energy dominance. Electric co-ops keep the lights on for 42 million Americans across 56% of the land mass. We are owned by the communities and businesses we serve and provide electricity to growing communities, new data centers, and manufacturing plants. Mr. President, electric co-ops are powering America, and we are proud to partner with you and your administration to power America into the future. Our electric cooperatives in Kentucky understands the importance of reliable, affordable, and American-made energy, especially coal and natural gas. Coal fuels most of the electricity generated by our cooperative. America must keep coal plants open and running to ensure reliable electricity when we need it most. To meet growing demand over the next decade and ensure fuel security, America will need more always available electric generation power, such as coal. And we want to recognize the hardworking American men, women that support our mission. To all America's line workers, our coal miners, thank you for your dedicated service to our country. Affordable and reliable electricity is the cornerstone of our economy, especially American manufacturing. However, too many government leaders have pushed policies that have made our electric grid significantly less reliable and our energy too expensive. That begins to change now. Your actions today will prevent the premature closing of essential power plants and help us meet tomorrow's energy needs. And they will help us continue to deliver reliable, safe, and affordable electricity. Mr. President, thank you in particular for providing immediate, much-needed relief from the Biden EPA regulations that would force the shutdown of critical coal units. Finally, I want to say congratulations on the all-star energy team you've assembled. Electric co-ops have already been working with Secretaries Bergrum, Wright, and Rollins, and Administrator Zeldin, and we are excited for all we can accomplish together. Mr. President, thank you again for your actions today and for your support for the electric cooperatives as we work to keep the lights on in America.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate it. Every day under the Trump administration, we will continue to lower costs for American families, create jobs for American workers, and very importantly, unlock unlimited amounts of affordable American energy, including, as I said, and I'll say for the last time, beautiful, clean coal. Our country is blessed. Our country is blessed with the most abundant natural resources on earth. There's nobody has what we have, and we're going to use it too. We're going to use it in a very responsible way. Together, we're going to tap that magnificent potential to give our people the glorious future that they deserve. better than they've ever had in the past. I mean, they had a good future, if you look, 20 years ago, they thought they had a good future. It was ripped away from them, torn away from them with nonsense. And we're not going to let that happen. This is going to be a glorious future for them. And I want to thank everybody for being here. And I want to thank you and you and you and that whole group and our senators, by the way, and our great congressmen and women for being here in such a large number, because you've been helping us make these decisions. These are big decisions, and this is a really big one. And this is one that's going to be, I think we're going to look back with great pride at what we've done today, not just in putting people to work, but at really reawakening our country. And thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. President.
We have 4 items prepared for your signature this afternoon, sir. The first of these executive orders it may be one of the most significant executive orders of your administration thus far. This directs all departments and agencies of the federal government to end all discriminatory policies against the coal industry. This ends the leasing moratorium that prevents new coal projects on federal land, and it's going to accelerate all permitting and funding for new coal projects to allow the coal industry to flourish under your leadership, sir.
That's great. Thank you. Okay.
Sir, there are currently dozens of coal plants in America that are in imminent danger of being forced to close based on unscientific and unrealistic policies enacted by the Biden administration. What we're going to do is essentially impose a moratorium on those policies taking effect to protect coal plants that are currently operating, to ensure that they're able to continue producing power and continue providing jobs to Americans in the coal industry.
Right. Thank you very much.
Sir, you've made grid reliability and security a key focus of this administration. This executive order is going to promote grid security and reliability by ensuring in part that our grid policies are focused on secure and effective energy production and energy transmission, as opposed to woke policies that discriminate against secure sources of power like coal and other fossil fuels. Lastly, sir, one of the biggest problems we have in this space is Democrat states, radical leftist states, enacting policies and enacting an agenda that discriminates against coal, against secure sources of energy. Many of these policies are unconstitutional and illegal, and with this executive order, you're going to be instructing your Department of Justice to vigorously pursue and investigate these state policies that we believe are illegal or unconstitutional.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. You went to Harvard when Harvard was good. It was a while ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
I apologize, everyone. My apologies. Live been going on for a while. I was doing some studying while the live was playing, so I think I'm going to cut it short. I might do another live later, guys. But for everyone that was here, I appreciate every single one of you guys for joining. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I have about 12,000 subscribers, and without you guys, I don't think I'll be here today with that many subscribers. So again, I just want to thank everyone. Hope everyone's having a wonderful and safe Monday afternoon, and I hope you guys have a blessed week, weekend, and day. I might do another live later on, so stay tuned. And with that said, guys, I think I'm just gonna cut it short here for today and call it a day. May God bless every one of you. May the Holy Spirit watch and guide every one of you. And if you guys get a chance, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.